speeds, move the ball in and out, and the Astros have to be awfully patient with him. They can't get too anxious and go out there and try to get him. Defensively, it's Gan Nixon and Justice in the outfield. The veteran Terry Pendleton at third. Jeff Blauser at shortstop has had an outstanding year here for the Braves. Lemke's a little banged up, but he's in the lineup at second base. Fred McGriff, Damon Berryhill's the catcher, and he teams up with Tom Glavine.
Tommy Glavine is having the best second half of his career by his own admission and by the numbers, Buck. Last 7 games, he's 6-1 with a 2.49 ERA, and oddly enough, the one loss to Tommy Green and the Phillies Friday night, Tommy told us that's probably the best game of the year that he's pitched.
Yeah, the Braves were 0-10 with runners in scoring position. They just couldn't get anything across.
So here we go. It's Glavine against Craig Biggio, and kick back and relax and see what Atlanta does now that the Giants have opened the door for them. Biggio with 20 homers. That's a career high, and you wouldn't think that he would be a 20 home run man, especially playing in the Dome. He's kind of a diminutive player, but every year he has improved. And Biggio begins the game flying out to Ron Gant. There's one gone. Tommy Glavine began the year with 7 straight wins. His first loss wasn't until May 30th against the San Francisco Giants. He's then compiled this 6 in a row until his last loss against Tommy Green. So Tommy Glavine has been, certainly throughout the season, his steadiest. And that's something to say when you consider, well, he's won 20 wins the last 3 years. Obviously, he hasn't been too unsteady.
Well, you know, the difference for him this year as he faces Steve Finley is the fact that first half of the year he's inconsistent. He walked about as many as he struck out, but he's really turned it around in the second half because of his control.
Steve Finley, who hit a homer last night, looks at a strike. The count is 1-1.
In the past, Tom Glavine had a tendency to tire out late in the season, but this year he's maintained his strength, and this allows him to keep his arm high. When a pitcher gets tired, he'll have a tendency to drop that arm down and push the ball to the plate.
Little chopper past Lemke into right field, so Finley is aboard. One out, Finley at first base here in the top of the first inning between the Astros and the Atlanta Braves. Chris Berman and Buck Martinez with you on Wednesday Night Baseball. Our final Wednesday night telecast of the year, but there's plenty more baseball to come here on ESPN. Friday doubleheader, Braves early, Giants late. Possible Sunday baseball we'll talk about later, and a possible Monday night baseball game. That's right. The season's over, but if there is a one-game playoff between the Braves and the Giants, you'll see it right here on ESPN Monday night. This is Luis Gonzalez, who is hitting at .303 and career highs in homers and RBIs. Gonzalez has been a different player since about halfway through last year. He was below 200 almost at the midway point last season. Brought his average up in the 240 range for the season, and then has picked up where he left off, having a .303 year.
Well, he got sent down last year to AAA, and instead of stewing about it, he went to work, hit well, hit over 400, and promoted himself back to the big leagues.
Glavine will keep an eye on Steve Finley. Finley on the year has stolen 18 bases. He has stolen more than that in the past. Last year stole 44, and 91 stole 34, so he can run. Tommy Glavine, well aware, and has a good move to keep an eye on, Buck. Pitch in there for a strike to Gonzalez. 0-2.
Gonzalez is another one of these Astro players that gets you excited about what they might be on the verge of. You put their roster up against any in baseball, and they stack up fairly well. Art Howe has to be pleased with the players he sees, but execution has cost him some this year.
Well, the most pleased that they'll be is that, what, Atlanta's gone and San Francisco's gone next year.
That'll make him smile.
Yeah. The Astros at 7 above 500 at 82 and 75, so 18 out. Glavine thought he had it, but missed ball 1-2. But they're 18 out, but you think that their big pitchers, Drabek and Swindell, didn't really come through at all this year, and the 3 guys who they already had, Harnish, Kyle, and Portugal, have had outstanding seasons. If Drabek and or Swindell figure themselves out, this could be a formidable staff, and with a little more power, Houston could be in the thick of things next season. But they're trying to be in the thick of things here. And Glavine bounces it. It's 2-2.
Tommy Glavine tries to finish off Gonzalez here with a breaking ball. Look at the job by Berryhill as he really squares up on it. Keeps his eye on Finley at first base. You know, Glavine, although this is his 6th season, he is a young veteran, but he still can feel the emotions of the night. And because he's a finesse pitcher, he has to recognize that and smooth out his delivery a bit. Can eliminate all that adrenaline and try to get your emotions under control here in the first inning.
Well, I'm talking with Tommy, and we talked extensively with him before the game. He says, you know, whether the Giants win, and there's a look at his last start against the Phillies, in which he pitched very well, allowing only the 5 hits, but got the loss. You know, think of him. He's a young man, but yet he's pitched in so many pressure games already, Buck, from 91 through 92, and this season. This is ripped to center field, but Otis Nixon is there. 2 down, Finley back to first. He says, I asked him if he was a better pitcher this year than either of the other 2 years when he won 20 games. He said, yes, in this way. Last year he was hurt. He had a cracked rib for a while, which nobody knew. But he also says, I've learned that it's a big game, that I'm going to get hit sometimes in a big game, but to not let the situation take me away from what I'm doing out there. He said he had struggled in postseason until the World Series last year, and that's what he learned bringing into this season. So bad news for the hitters in the National League. Tommy Glavine's better. This is Ken Caminiti, the cleanup hitting third baseman. And there's the pitch that we'll see a lot from Glavine to the right-hand hitters, down and away.
Yeah, he likes to set up the hitters, get them thinking about that outside pitch, and then bust them inside later on in the game. Look at Berryhill's target right on the outside corner, and he finds the mark. That's what makes Glavine so tough. He has that good sinking fastball right at the knees away from the right-handers. And then when he's right, as he has been here in the second half, he can bust that fastball inside to make them aware of the inside part as well.
If you rate pure stuff, Buck, Avery, Smoltz, Maddox, Glavine would not be 1, would he?
He's probably 4.
That's right. Hit out of play to the right side. Now, having said that, his teammates and Jay Howell, who's got to know him this year in the bullpen, says, you know, we call him Houdini because he pitches with the wisdom of a 15-year veteran.
Well, when your fastball isn't 95 miles an hour and you don't have a great split finger pitcher, you can't throw that off the table curveball. If you're going to survive in the big leagues, you better be a magician. Better figure out a way to mess up the timing of the hitters, go back and forth with velocity and speed.
You know what I heard a lot talked about Glavine by the Astros, and discussing him specifically at the cage, is that he, as much as any pitcher in the National League that they see, gets inside their heads. Off-speed pitch up and outside. 2-2. That Glavine not only tries to keep himself off speed so that the hitters, though, he gets specifically into each hitter's head and beats him that way.
Well, he's 60-25 since 91.
That'll work. 2-2 pitch to Caminiti, foul back. Come on, Buck, a dive would have had it. Of course, I would have done the game alone, but these are the prices you pay.
You know, you talk about Glavine and you talk about how he gets into each hitter's head. Well, a pitcher can do that by recognizing where the hitter is making contact. Right there, Caminiti was late on the ball and fouled it straight back. So you want to make sure that you either take enough off of the pitch that he's way out in front, or add a little bit more to keep him back in the hitting zone.
Outside with that one, and the count will be full. So obviously with 2 outs in the full count, Steve Finley will be going. With Kevin Bass, the one-time Astro who returned home this season, in the on-deck circle. Three-two pitch. Foul back. We'll do it again. Be interesting to see, Buck, how tonight Glavine alters his approach, especially to the top of the Astros order, which is the part of the lineup that can hurt you. Down at the bottom, he figures to have things his own way. He figures to have things more his own way.
Well, what he'll do is he'll have one particular style first time around the lineup, make a judgment after that, and go from there.
There goes Finley. He'll go to second base anyway because it's ball 4. So 2 on here with 2 out in the top of the first for the Astros. And that'll bring up the personable Kevin Smallmouth Bass. Bobby Cox, knowing that Tommy sometimes scuffles in the first inning, and he was looking for a 1-2-3 first, but it doesn't go that way sometimes.
Not in the last week of the season. Glavin's only walked 10 in his last 7 starts, so control has not been a problem for him lately.
Pitch on the way to Bass. He chops it foul. Kevin, of course. I'm sorry, Buck. Go ahead.
Kevin's had an opportunity to play recently because Eric Anthony, the everyday left fielder, got a little bit of tendonitis in his shoulder, and he's taken advantage of that. He's hit over 340 the last couple of weeks. See his average at 280. Very respectable for a guy that gets limited playing time. Kind of a valuable guy to have around, and he's a decent outfielder that switch hits.
A mainstay on the last Astro team to get in the postseason, the '86 Astros. And he said he had all those memories coming back even 7 years later here. He was the Giant the last couple of years. But coming back to the Dome, although he's the last one left. He's the last one left from that team, and he has gone deep 3 times against Tommy Glavine in his career as a Astro and a Giant. 3 years as a Giant. There goes Finley to third. The hit and run, but it's right at Blauser over to Lemke, and the force on Caminiti. So Bass grounds into a fielder's choice, and the Astros strand a pair. We're heading to the bottom of the first here in Atlanta. Beautiful sunset. Something going against the Houston Astros. Well, about a half an hour before the start of the game tonight, Bobby Cox in the Braves dugout, watching on the Jumbotron scoreboard as the Rockies finished off the Giants 2,000 miles away, 5-3. And it's quite a moment. And listen to the crowd here cheering a game thousands of miles away. Here's Bobby's Energizer lineup tonight. Otis Nixon leads it off in center field. Jeff See-Through Blauser, the shortstop, hitting second. Ron Extravagant, who has been just that here in September, hitting third. The crime dog, Fred McGriff, hitting cleanup. David Chief Justice is batting 5th in right field. Terry Pendleton is at third base, hitting 6th. Damon Berryhill is the catcher tonight, hitting 7th. Mark Officer Lepke, the second baseman, hitting 8th. Tommy Glavine, good hitting pitcher, hitting 9th. Against the former Pittsburgh Pirate and the Cy Young Award winner in 1990, Doug Drabek.
Doug Drabek's going through a bad year by his standards. 9-17. This is his first year after signing a free agent contract with the Astros, and he went back home to his hometown, and I think he probably tried to justify the contract and really caused himself an awful lot of problems. Here's a guy that mixes a combination of breaking pitches, changes speeds on his fastball, and basically uses his fastball as a changeup, and that he throws so many breaking pitches.
Here is Otis Nixon, who has been red hot. Otis doing what you want a leadoff man to do. In his last 15 games, he has scored 20 runs, hit .322, and stolen 11 bases. Drabek will throw several pitches for strikes. Count is 1-1.
Take a look at the third baseman, Kim Caminiti. He's got to come in and take the bunt away from Otis Nixon. But now he really cuts down his range, so it's kind of a catch-22.
Off-speed pitch handled by Cedeno across his body, and a good strong throw against the fast man Otis Nixon. 1 out.
Let's take a look at the rest of the Astros defense. It's Gonzalez, Finley, and Bass in the outfield. Pretty good speed. Caminiti, Cedeno on the left side. Greg Biggio has made a tremendous adjustment at second base. Former catcher Jim Lindemann starts. The regular first baseman Jeff Bagwell is out for the season with a broken bone in his hand, and Scooter Tucker, just up from the minor leagues, is behind the plate. This is the first time that Tucker has ever caught Doug Drabek in a game.
Here is the most consistent of the Braves this year. We've been saying that. Well, we've had him every Wednesday, haven't we, for 4 of the last 5 weeks. His average has been at 300 or above every month. Career highs in homers and RBIs for Jeff Blauser. Always a wise crack. But he admitted, hey, said, are you guys a little nervous? Yeah, we're nervous. I said, we didn't expect the Giants to lose every game, did we? Yeah, we did. He's only kidding on that one, obviously. Ripped to short. Cedeno bobbles, throws in the dirt. Well, that was an adventuresome 6-3 from Cedeno to Lindemann, but he gets his man eventually.
Cedeno is a pretty exciting young ball player. He's committed 25 errors this year, and that's a pretty good indication. He has bobbled that ball all over the place and then throws a ball in the dirt. Gets some help from Jim Lindemann. They're really pleased with his progress. They believe that he's getting a little more consistent in the infield.
No, wait a minute. Now I can tell that you've spent some time in Canada. Progress?
Yeah, okay. Progress. Sorry.
Okay, I know where you spend part of your time. I just think it's fitting that a guy named Cedeno plays for the Astros. Talking, of course, about Cesar Cedeno. In the old days, Cesar Cedeno and the toy cannon, Jimmy Wynn. Bob Watson was here as assistant GM. Ronnie Gant tries to fool everybody, but the bunt goes foul. And I would say that when you are a home run hitter to Gant's ability, and you try and lay a bunt that they're not exactly charging in.
Yeah, 36 home runs. You don't expect him to drop a bunt down with 2 outs. You can see he has a pretty good idea. Kevin Eddy deep at third base, but it's foul outside the line. I think they'll say, Ron, again, if you want a bunt, you just go ahead. We'll give you that bunt with 2 outs.
Three-way race, really, between Gant, Justice, and Barry Bonds for the RBI title. Bonds will win the home run title. There's a good pitch by Drabek. 0-2.
Most of Drabek's pitches, the sinking fastball and the several different breaking balls, are all down. Some of his catchers believe that maybe a few more four-seam fastballs upstairs would help him. There's another breaking pitch off the plate.
Ronnie Gant, of course, cover of last week's Sports Illustrated, and of course there's always the guess on is it a jinx or not. A lot of people believe in the Sports Illustrated jinx. Gant was just happy to be on it. He thought it was a nice picture. He's been 2 of his last 21 since the cover came out.
I don't think he thinks the picture's that nice.
Count remains at 0-2. 2 out, none on, bottom of the first, no score. Fastball outside. Drabek looks to have some pop on the ball. You see not many hits for Gant, but 3 homers against Drabek. Seems to have some pop on the ball tonight, Buck.
Yeah, his fastball is right about 90 miles an hour. You know, we talked about the disappointment of the season for Drabek, 9-17. Houston picked by many to be a contender in the division. They've got a pretty good club, and they felt when they signed Drabek and Swindell that they would be 1-2 in their rotation.
They're 4-5.
Yeah, they're just probably trying too hard, trying to justify the contract, as many free agents will do in their first season with a new club. But this figures to be his last start of the season, and he wants to really end up on a positive and get into double figures in the win column.
And pay the Braves back. I mean, let's hit this. He's very diplomatic about it, but let's be honest. When you lose 3 times in the NLCS, especially knowing pretty much that he was gone from Pittsburgh, maybe not a done deal, but that was a distinct possibility in that 7th game, 2-0 lead in this ballpark. They got the bases loaded. They bring Belinda in, a sac fly. Gant, the hit by Cabrera. Caminiti will fire out Gant. But Drabek is thinking, if there's a club that I owe something to, it's the Atlanta Braves. And thus far, 3 up, 3 down for Drabek. No score after 1. This is the way we close out. The Giants are flying as we speak, or they're getting ready to fly. They're going to go down to L.A. tonight. They're going to be there tomorrow, relax, and then play their hated rivals, the Dodgers, for 4 straight games. The Astros are in here tomorrow night against the Braves, and then the Colorado Rockies, who have tomorrow off, come in here for a Friday, Saturday, Sunday set. You see that we'll do both games early and late, Braves then Giants on Friday. Sunday, if it's tied, we will do the Giants-Dodgers game, I believe. And then the key was that Monday night, that's a 10:30 Eastern start, 7:30 West Coast start, a 1-game playoff if necessary. But more on that as we progress this evening. This is Andujar Cedeno, who hits this one back to left. Back goes Gant. Back. Gone! For the 2nd straight night, Andujar Cedeno Cedeno has gone deep against the Atlanta Braves. Now, Buck told you he was an exciting player. You saw his arm, and now you've seen his bat.
Well, that's the second home run he's hit against the Braves in this series. Hit a big home run last night against Mark Wohlers. And look at the Astros. You don't think they're geared up for this series? Take a look at his swing. Now, this, for a shortstop, is a powerful swing. Look at the extension. He knows it's gone.
So Cedeno had 3 RBIs last night in the game. And remember that 2 years ago, the series that the Braves clinched the NL West against these Astros right here. There's a shot to right field that Justice can't come in on, and Jim Lindemann is aboard. Just to finish the Cedeno thought, he made 6 errors in those 3 games. Played horribly. Now, 2 years later, we talk about redemption for Drabek. A little bit of redemption for Andujar Cedeno, who at the age of 24 has impressed here in this series. That's for sure.
Well, Tommy Glavine has just given up a single to Jim Lindemann to right field. Home run and a single. That's got Leo Mazzoni rocking in the dugout.
He's rocking. The joint isn't rocking, but Leo is. This is the catcher who played much of the year in Tucson, Scooter Tucker. His real name is Eddie Jack Tucker. But Pete Harnish, our friend, and who contributes as many nicknames as any of my ghostwriters, says, well, you got to go with Friar Tucker, don't you? So you got it. So Scooter Friar Tucker has 2 nicknames. And he's only been up for a month. Some guys wait their whole career to get 1 nickname.
Well, he had a pretty good year at AAA at Tucson. He had 302. And in the AAA Championship Series, he was named the most valuable player, so he really came on the second half of the year with the bat.
Acquired on waivers from the Giants in September of '91. A man not far from here, actually, Greenville, Mississippi. And Glavine in there with a strike. Caddis 1-2. 1-0 Astros on Cedeno's homer here in the second.
You know, Chris Tucker was telling me before the game that in the offseason, he really hit the weights hard. Came into spring training with a great-looking body, but he couldn't do anything. It really slowed him down. So they backed off the weights, and it took him until just about the middle of July before he really felt loose and limber again.
Hit to right field, but foul.
And that's when his bat came back and his catching skills improved.
You know, I went to spring training with a pretty good-looking body, too.
You did. You've had a rough summer.
I've had a real rough summer. Here's Art Howe, who in a lot of ways has had a rough summer. I mean, the Astros have been above 500 all year, which in other years is big news. But the new owner, Drayden McClain, the big bucks for Swindell and Drabek, expected big things. But you know what? They're 18 out. Guess what? If they won 88 or 90 games, they've won 82. If they've won 90 games, they'd be 10 out. And it's hard in a division where 2 teams have each won 100. Rumors that Art Howe may not be back next year, but I don't know. I think the players like Art a lot. I think that they respond to him. I don't know what kind of improvement the new owner thinks he would get. Be interesting to see, but that's been rumored that Howe, this may be his last week. That'd be a shame. He's a good man.
Well, they said they're going to make a decision at the end of the season, but you can bet if they have a good series here against the Braves, that won't be overlooked.
Meanwhile, Tommy Glavine trying to settle down. And remains at 2-2 to Tucker. Cedeno a homer, Lindemann a single here to start the second inning. Giants have lost if you've tuned in late. Colorado beat them 5-3 in the Giants' final game, maybe at Candlestick. Little check swing. Glavine fields well off the mound quickly. Oh my goodness! They almost turned the 2 on a check swing. Well, that's what a good fielding pitcher will do for you. And they almost got a gift, but they couldn't quite beat the relay, beat Tucker.
Well, Glavine gets a lot of ground balls, so he's got to become an infielder as soon as he releases the ball. Look at the throw to Blauser. Blauser gets it in good shape and jumps out of the way of the base runner, but the throw is not in time as Tucker hustled down the line to beat the relay. Chris, you mentioned the way Glavine has to eliminate anything that's happened prior to this. He's got to forget about that home run now and just try to get maybe a ground ball off the bat of Drabek, unless he's going to bunt, which he might do in this situation.
Drabek, a good athlete, is usually a pretty good hitting pitcher, but to go along with his 9-17 season on the mound is an .086 batting average. He's a .160 lifetime hitter, so boy, when things go south, they all go south, even the hitting. One homer this year, that makes 2 for his career. Pendleton creeping in. Drabek pulls it back. Good pitch by Glavine up high on the outside corner. 1-1.
You see, the Astros have the advantage of now switching off. Remember, they're out of the race. They're just trying to play the spoiler role here. And Art Howe can roll the dice a bit. And he's got Terry Pendleton drawn in at third base. And as Chris mentioned, Drabek swings the bat pretty well. But he's showing bunt again.
That one missed. Count is 2-1, so Drabek will look down at Matt Galante for the signs again. Galante looking at Art Howe. Kind of like playing telephone, isn't it? Like when you're 8 years old, the one guy gives the message to the next guy gives the message to the third. By the time it gets all around the circle, sometimes it's not the same as when it started.
And sometimes it gets intercepted, too. You get too many in between.
Bunt, but foul, so this will change the strategy. 2-2.
Well, if you're going to bunt in this situation, trying to avoid a potential double play, you might ask him to bunt again. Hopefully to get the base runner Scooter Tucker into second base and give the leadoff hitter Biggio a chance to drive him home.
Drabek is going to show the bunt again with the 2 strikes, so he bunts it foul and he's out. You agree with that, bunting with 2 strikes like that, Buck?
Yeah, it's not a bad play when you got a base runner on, and Drabek's had an off year at the plate.
Good pitch.
Glavine throws so many ground balls on the infield that he risks the chance of Drabek hitting into an inning-ending double play. So Art Howe elected to have him try to bunt.
Well, that'll make it easier. There are 2 out now. The runner at first, and the leadoff man, Craig Biggio, up. He flew to left to lead off the game. Biggio, the only man in Major League history to be selected as an All-Star as a catcher and as a second baseman. Made the conversion last year in '92. And has continued this year at second base, growing as a fielder, and his power numbers way up. By far career high with 20 home runs.
You know, Chris, the move from back behind the plate out to second is largely because Biggio was such a good offensive player. He could run, he had good speed, he had stolen base ability, and now the 20 home runs testimony to the fact that he has some pop in his bat. And they were concerned that behind the plate he might tire out and lose some of those skills as the season went on. And you see, he's not a big guy. He's not the type of guy that can really take the wear and tear of catching every day behind the plate. So it was a good move for the ball club and a good move for Craig now that he's out there at second base. Look at the difference in the homers. 14 home run improvement.
Count is 3-0. So Tommy Glavine has not been sharp tonight, Buck. He surrendered a single and a walk in the first, and here in the second, a home run and a single, and now behind Biggio, 3-0 with Finley on deck. There's a strike, 3-1. Glavine is going for his 21st win. That would be a career high. He's won 20 exactly the last 2 years. The last National Leaguer to do that, Ferguson Jenkins, from the late 60s to the early 70s when he won 20 in a row 6 straight times. So Tommy Glavine in some rarefied air. Hit pretty well to right field by Biggio, but justice is there. Biggio is retired, and so are the Stros. Cedeno went deep. Can the crime dog go deep? He'll be up when we return. Bottom of the second here in Atlanta. Chris Berman along with Buck Martinez. Glad you could join us on a Wednesday Night Baseball. The crime dog, Fred McGriff, up against Doug Drabek. Lifetime against Drabek, 545 hitter with just the 1 home run. But we talked to Fred before the game about how he did against Drabek, and Fred being kind of quiet, said, well, I got a book on him. I'm going to go back and research it. But those hard sliders that he throws down and in, normally not where McGriff likes to hit Buck, but for some reason he waits on it.
You know, Drabek doesn't have that real good hopping fastball that'll cause McGriff some problems. If you can pound Fred McGriff on the inner half of the plate about belt high and up, you're going to have some luck against him. But that's not a pitch Drabek has in his arsenal. You see, he tries to run that moving fastball up and away from him. So he'll try to pound that slider in on his hands and keep it low, and that's the danger zone. That's Fred McGriff's happy zone. Down out over the plate.
Ripped by McGriff, and that 545 average continues to climb. First hit of the night for the Braves. McGriff, a leadoff single here in inning number 2.
Take a look at the target first of all and where that ball ends up, and look how McGriff just steps right to it, goes out over the plate and rakes it into center field. That high Fred McGriff finish with one hand. You know, he's tailed off here in the month of September a bit.
Well, they were so hot, Buck. I mean, it's almost incredulous, that 32-7 run that they had. There's no way you can play that kind of ball as it is, with the ball 1 to David Justice. As it is, the Braves very easily can compile the best record since the All-Star break, since we went to divisional play. I mean, it's not even close. But sooner or later, I mean, they've been 6-4 the last 10 games. But if you think about it, Buck, they took 2 of 3 from the Mets, 2 of 3 on the road at Montreal, 2 of 3 on the road at Philadelphia. They lost game 1 to the Astros, but if they win the next 2, 2 of 3 against the Astros, but yet they've lost 3.5 games, taking 2 of 3 from 3 straight series. So, I mean, now the Giants were giving them a bit of their own medicine. That's all. That's all it was. Count is 2-0 to Justice. Now, here's what we were telling you about. The Braves, since the All-Star break, are 50-18 for a .735 percentage. The Orioles in 70 and the Yankees in 77 were teams with records close to that. The interesting note about those O's and those Yankees, they both won the World Series.
You know, it's hard for the Braves to believe that after a 50-18 second half, they're just a half a game in front. Particularly in that the Giants came in here and the Braves took 2 out of 3, and then the Giants lost 8 straight and got as far back as 4 games. Bobby Cox and his very laid-back approach as far as always pumping the players up and not getting too concerned has paid off.
Drabek on the inside corner, and Justice will sit down. David struggled last night against Pete Harnisch in the strikeout route, and he does the same tonight against Drabek.
Well, Drabek, watch the movement on this fastball. Justice expects it to be inside, but that late movement brings it back over the inside corner, and Drabek gets a strikeout. Justice is really in between right now. He's thinking one pitch and getting the other one, and he really can't pick up on a pattern that the Houston Astros pitchers are giving him.
He struck out 3 times last night against Pete Harnisch. Now 1 here. Here's Terry Pendleton, swings at the first pitch, past the diving Biggio. McGriff will stop at second base. Finley kind of bobbles it for a moment, but McGriff not going anywhere. Pendleton delivers a base hit, and the Braves with 2 on here in the second.
Well, for most of the season, it's been Gant, Justice, and McGriff, and now Terry Pendleton, the veteran, says, hey, it's about time I did something here, and steps front and center, gets a hit, drives Fred McGriff to second. Pendleton had a real good series in Philadelphia. Did it with his speed, had a couple infield hits, stole a couple bases.
You know, in facing Doug Drabek as the catcher Damon Berryhill comes to the plate. Another thing, the Braves say, "Whoa, goodness, we're not winning every game anymore." Drabek, with 9 wins, is the first pitcher that they have faced in a week that doesn't have a multiple win season. Harnish last night, 15, and Schilling 15. Danny Jackson, Tommy Green, Dennis Martinez. The game we saw Facero pitch beautifully in Montreal. I mean, these are all frontline pitchers that the teams are stacking up against the Braves. So the fact that they've lost a couple of these games, they're human. Berryhill chops it foul.
But don't let Drabek's record fool you. He's a frontline pitcher.
Well, we've told you that the Rockies beat the Giants this afternoon 5-3. The Giants only their second loss in the last 13 games. So now the Braves know if they win every game, there will be no playoff, and they fly to Philadelphia on Monday for the NLCS. Our congratulations to Jim Fregosi and the Philadelphia Phillies, as well as Cito Gaston and the Blue Jays, Gene Lamont and the White Sox. It'll be a fun October. Who will join them? Trabeck misses. It's 2-1. What kind of lineup outside of Tommy Green that the Phillies have in tonight for Fregosi?
Probably see a few extra players.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe called off BP today at the park, you think?
No, you got to let those extra players
Where
be
the
ready.
extras?
It's a big game for them.
Yeah, it is. And it's 2-1 to Berryhill. 2 on here for the Braves. They trail 1-0. Second inning. Drabek just missed up top and inside to Berryhill. The count is 3-1. McGriff on second. Pendleton on first. Mark Lemke on deck. Some great hang time, and on a 3-run shot, the Braves have found their thrill with Damon Berryhill.
Doug Drabek got himself in a corner with a 3-1 count, and he had to come with the fastball. Take a look at the swing. He gets a lot of it, but it's a high booming drive to right. Kevin Bass believes he's got a shot at it, but it hits right on top of the fence.
Well, we saw Ron Gant do it 2 Wednesdays ago off the left field fence as Lemke chops it foul. Off the top of the fence against Cincinnati. And here's Doug watching. Just stay in, he's saying. Oh. Well, when you're 9-17. Well, they're dialing it now after that hit. You're 9-17 this year, and you're 0-3 against them last year in the NLCS. You're wondering, give me a break. He handles that chopper by Lemke. There are 2 outs.
Now, Damon Berryhill has hit almost 300 against Doug Drabek. That was his first home run against Drabek. It's not unlike the home run he hit against Toronto in the opening game of last year's World Series off Jack Morris.
He's behind the batting coach, Clarence Jones, who obviously gave him the tip of how to go deep against Doug Drabek. Here's a pretty good hitting pitcher, Tom Glavine. All the Braves are good hitting pitchers. Grounds this one past Seguinho, base hit. Glavine, a 185 lifetime hitter. And this year, 171, grounds a hit. So the Braves are still rolling now back to the top of the order. Glavine on first. And Art Howe watches Otis Nixon come to the plate.
Seems as though the fans really were energized when they saw that final score from San Francisco when the Rockies beat the Giants. Damon Berryhill's helped him out a little bit too.
Well, there's a great race among the Braves pitchers. Yes, among wins, which Glavine will probably win, but also among hits. Nixon slaps it to left field for a base hit. Glavine will stop at second. So the 5th hit of the inning against Doug Drabek, as Otis's report has started to say Glavine with 14 hits, Smoltz and Maddox with 13, and Avery 12. Maybe not as exciting as watching them all go for 20 wins, but to them, they probably have bets on this one.
Doug Drabek has been let down somewhat in this inning by his location. He's fallen behind in the count. Pitched himself into fastball counts and has had to come with the fastball, and as a result has given up 3 runs and 5 hits.
Jeff Blauser grounded to short in the 1st inning. 8th man up in the Atlanta 2nd. Looks at strike 1. Jerry Lane, the umpire behind home. Paul Runge at 1st. Charlie Relaford at 2nd. Dana DeMuth at 3rd this evening. Breaking ball way up high and in. Count is 1-1. Bobby's rocking, but he always rocks, doesn't he?
Never sits still in the dugout. No, he's pacing, walking around.
Change the insoles of the shoes, I think, once every 2 weeks.
Once again, Drabek gets himself into a hitter's count, 2-1. And he hasn't had the command of his breaking ball that allows him to throw it in these situations so far.
2-1 the count to Blauser. Glavine at 2nd. Nixon at 1st. 3 runs in. Good pitch by Drabek, and he makes the comeback play over to Lindemann. But for the Atlanta Braves, all in all, it's just another home run off the top of the wall.
With his 6th grand slam of the season, coming off Bruce Hurst in a 6-0 victory over the Red Sox. Previous record of 5 held by Ernie Banks and Jim Gentile. Meanwhile, Don Mattingly has a solo home run, his 17th of the year against the Orioles tonight. Back to Chris and Buck.
All right, John, it's glad to have you back as our companion in the month of September, eh? Maybe I'll see you before the calendar year is over. Top of the 3rd, 3-run homer by Berryhill outdoes the solo home run by Cedeno in the top of the 2nd. And so Tom Glavine working with a lead for the first time tonight. Tommy has struggled this evening, Buck, but now he's got the 2-run cushion, and we'll see how he deals with the heart of the Astros owner, Fidley, Gonzalez, and Caminiti. Berryhill feeling pretty good behind there right now.
Well, now it's up to the pitchers to see who can get sorted out quicker here tonight. Glavine's control, like Drabek's, has not been there yet.
Steve Finley swings at the 1-0 pitch, flies it to left center field. Gant calls off Nixon, and there is 1 out in the Houston 3rd.
See, the smiles are a little more prevalent now. Braves are up by 2. You know, Glavine has always been the type of guy that could take a lead like this and really zero in. Pitch aggressively, pitch ahead, use all of his pitches, but really be the aggressor in a situation like this.
Swinging at the first pitch is Luis Gonzalez. McGriff will take it himself. And 2 up, 2 down for the Stros. Of course, our Thursday night football continues on ESPN. The weekend kickoff show with Chris and the coach and Pony. Starts at 7:40. Then UCLA at the Murph. Ken Caminiti looks at an off-speed pitch for a strike. Caminiti walked in the 1st inning. Misses outside. This is Glavine's 35th start of the year. And comparing his numbers, 20-6, 3.15 against his last 2 seasons. His ERA is higher this year. It was 2.76 last year, 2.55 the year before. He has given up about 10 more earned runs. But yet he feels, and he struck out much less, I might add, and walked a little more, but yet he feels he's a better pitcher this year, that maybe his stuff hasn't been quite the same, but he's smarter. That's what he told us.
Well, you know, the ERA would be a little bit higher because now he's got more offensive weapons behind him. They've supported him to the tune of 5.5 runs a game, so he can go ahead and give up 3 runs. Fred McGriff has been very instrumental in the increased offensive production with his ball club.
For the second time tonight, Caminiti walks. So he's aboard with 2 outs, and Kevin Bass coming up.
So when Glavine has a lead and has a comfortable lead, he continues to throw the ball over the plate, so he's going to give up a run here and there, and the ERA is inflated because of that.
I mean, his strikeouts to walk ratio, if that means anything, by the way, I'm not sure it does. I mean, 112 strikeouts going in against 86 walks, and he's walked Caminiti twice tonight and only has 1 strikeout. I mean, that's pretty close. Other years, like 2 years ago when he won the Cy Young, was 192 to 69. But does that mean much, Buck, the walk to strikeout ratio? I mean, if you're you caught, I mean, is that a number that managers or pitching coaches point to?
Well, only if it's a point where Glavine's control is such that he continually walks himself into trouble, but that hasn't been the case. Leo Mazzoni likes his pitchers to go strike 1. You talk about competitiveness. They have a competition, too, to see who can throw the most first pitch strikes in the course of a ball game.
Misses outside and low to Bass, 2-0. Now Berryhill will go out to talk with Glavine, as does certainly the captain of the infield, Terry Pendleton. On deck, the dangerous Andujar Cedeno. Homered tonight, homered last night. Expecting great things of Cedeno, a man 10 years his senior at the plate, Kevin Bass. Bass began in the Brewer organization, but in '82 was traded as a youngster over to Houston, where he played from '82 to '89. Now has come back home again. Count is 3-0. Umpire Jerry Lane is in his ears and in his eyes. There's a pitch Bass taking all the way, 3-1. This will be an interesting pitch from Glavine to Bass. Kevin grounded into a fielder's choice to end a rally for the Astros in the first inning, stranding 2. To left center field and hit pretty well. This is going to be a gapper. It bounces up against the wall. Caminiti around third. He's being waved home. Blauser holds the relay. 3-2 ball game. Well, Bass was ready to jump on that pitch, Buck, and they gave him a lot of room in left center field, and he split left and center field easily.
Well, we talked about Kevin Bass being a hot hitter in the month of September, and he cashes in with a 2-out double. Once again, if hitters count, that fastball, and you can see it was too high. Tom Glavine can't get the ball that high in the strike zone, and Bass hammers it up the alley in left center. Neither Gant nor Nixon can get to it. Caminiti off on contact with 2 outs. Checks the situation out, gets the go-ahead from Matt Galante, and we have ourselves a 1-run ball game.
Bass has 17 doubles. Just been up 216 times this year. That's not a bad clip. So Bass delivers. And a talk from Leo Mazzoni with Tom Glavine, and striding to the plate is Andujar Cedeno. Last night, Cedeno had 3 RBIs, 2 of them coming on this in the late going against reliever Mark Bay City Rollers. Then tonight in the second inning against Tommy Glavine, just slugged it over the left field fence. Slugs this one into center field. Bass running with 2 outs will score easily, and the Astros have tied the game. Andujar Cedeno continues to riddle the Atlanta Braves, and we are knotted at 3.
And Cedeno is 5 for 12 against Glavine. Bass gets high fives from his teammates. He got a big hit to keep the inning going with 2 outs, and then Cedeno whacks the first pitch he sees from Glavine and picks up his second RBI tonight. Tommy Glavine's a bit up in the strike zone right now.
Jim Lindemann is up, singled in the first. In the second inning, my mistake. Well, the Astros certainly look like a team that's taking this 3-game series mighty seriously, much to the chagrin of the Atlanta Braves.
You know, Art Howe has to be pretty pleased with the way his players are going about it in this series, because it would be awfully easy to come in here and think, man, we got 5 more games left, and then we'll just take the rest of the season off and think about next year. But they haven't done that.
Behind that pitch is Lindemann. Berryhill pumps but does not throw to watch Cedeno. The Astros, I mean, 2 years ago, remember, this was a 65-97 ball club. Last year they had that month-long road trip because the Republicans were staging their convention in the Dome. So if you think of where they've come in the 2 years, I know they expected more of them this year, but look, progress is what you want, and there is a lot of progress with the Astros this year. Lindemann with his second hit of the night plunks this in front of Nixon. Cedeno will stop at second base. So all of this, a walk, a double, and 2 singles, all of this coming with 2 outs. And there's some scoring. Yep.
Yeah, he's a bit perplexed by what's going on here. All with 2 outs in the 3rd inning. Glavine got Finley quickly, and then Gonzalez, and now Steve Bedrosian is going to start to throw. And Ken Merck is going to join him as well.
59 pitches here in the 3rd inning. Yowza.
See, that too many balls. He's just been out of the strike zone too much, and then he's had to come in there when the hitters had to count in their favor.
The Astros have scored in 6 of their last 7 innings against the Braves. Last 4 last night, 2 of 3 tonight. So they know about Atlanta's pitching staff, but they obviously are not scared by it one bit. Scooter Tucker, the catcher, looks at a strike. It's 1-1. Tucker, told you, from Greenville, Mississippi, played some college ball at Delta State in Mississippi, so he probably grew up. Perhaps, I didn't get a chance to ask him, but perhaps the Braves, a local team in Mississippi, could be Cardinal country down there, believe it or not.
Chris, one thing that has caused Glavine some problems now is he stayed exclusively away as he's trying to find his control, and he hasn't come inside at all to keep the Astro hitters off that pitch outside.
Fouled the fastball back. If they need it, Tommy Glavine will go Sunday. Tomorrow night against the Astros, it's Smoltz against Darryl Kyle. Avery, Maddox, and Glavine at home here against Greg Harris, the former Padre, and then a couple of former Brave farmhands, Reynoso and David Need, who asked that he be moved up yesterday in the rotation to Colorado so he could pitch against the Braves. The hit to left field. Ron Gant started back, then draws a beat on it. Tucker flies out, and Glavine strands 2, but not until the Astros plate 2, heading to the bottom of the 3rd, knotted at 3. Astros get their 2 in the top of the 3rd, all with 2 outs, and here was the reaction of Tom Glavine. When the bases are clear with 2 out, and then you give up 2 runs, this is what a competitor like Glavine will show.
Well, although he's had a 20-win season, you can see the intensity in Glavine. Last time out against the Phillies, he had trouble early in the ball game. He gave up 3 runs in the 2nd inning, and those were the only 3 runs of the ball game. as Tommy Green pitched 8 1/3 of 3 hit ball against them. So Glavine once again has had trouble early in the ball game.
Drabek starts with a curveball against Ron Gant. He fouls it back. There's Gant and Justice and McGriff. It's all Giants and Braves in the home run department in the National League. Bond's a winner. A couple of these guys have a shot to get to 40. Well, the Atlanta Braves have won 100 games, and yet they have not yet shook the San Francisco Giants. Only once in their history have they won 100 games, and that was back in the 1890s when they were the Boston Bean Eaters, the precursor of the Boston Braves. John Sherholtz put this team together. Gant down to right field side, foul ground, long run for Lindemann, and he just can't pull it in.
Now that's a tough play for a first baseman. You get way down there and you've had a long run and you start running on your heels and the ball really bounces on you. Look at him concentrating, trying to look it into his glove, but it hits off his heel. He swipes at it if it's suspended in the air there, but he couldn't make it.
You know, I also think that John Sherholtz was thinking about this week George Brett hanging him up, because John was there at Kansas City for so many of the great years. Nobody did it better than our buddy George, Buck.
What a way to go out, eh?
Fouls it back. We got a thought it would carry a little more.
George
he hasn't gotten a ball this year.
Well, George Brett hit 2 home runs in that game against California after he had announced his retirement, won the game with a solo home run in extra innings.
George Brett epitomizes baseball in the modern era. Same smile, same hustle as when he broke in. Drabek's pitch to Gant. 3-2. Gant, McGriff, Justice. Here in the Atlanta third. Atlanta sent 8 men to the plate in their 3-run second inning. 3-3 bottom 3. Hit by Gant pretty well to center field. The crowd on its feet, but Gant got under it. And Steve Finley makes the play. They are ready to jump on anything, Buck.
Yeah, that ball didn't have a chance of going out here, but when it came off the bat, everybody in the park jumped to their feet. Gant had hit another one.
Well, that'll bring up Fred McGriff, who began the 3-run rally with a single, came around to score on Berry Hill's 3-run home run. McGriff, we told you how well he hits Drabek. His average now lifetime against Drabek up to .583.
Now, what you have to try to do to Fred McGriff is crowd him. Don't allow him to extend those arms out over the plate.
Tried to do that.
Excuse me, Chris. One thing about McGriff is, for a power hitter, he's got a very good eye at the plate. Kind of like Frank Thomas with the White Sox, and that he knows the pitches he wants to offer at.
Ripped. Forget it. Back. Gone. Lifetime now against Doug Drabek. McGriff is over the triple Mendoza line. He's over 600. He owns him, and the Braves own the lead.
Look at the concentration. Down, out over the plate. That's McGriff's happy zone. Look at that. You think he knows it's gone? Hit like a bullet out of this ballpark, and Fred McGriff has put the Braves back out in front.
Home run number 36 for the Crime Dog. 4-3 Atlanta. We had a feeling that this was a 2-1 or a 3-2 game, but the bats are doing it to the Cy Young Award pitchers thus far tonight. Braves now with 4 runs on 6 hits. The Astros 3 runs on 6 hits, and Tommy Glavine getting the hair, making sure that's perfect.
Now he's trying to cool off to regain his composure. He's got a lead again, and remember, the last time out after he got by that 3-run second inning against the Phillies, he settled in pretty nicely.
2-0 pitch to David Justice, and he slugs it. Back it goes to center. Back. Gone! Back to back. Home runs. Anything you can do, I can do better, says David Justice. McGriff with homer 36. Justice with homer 39. 5-3 Atlanta.
Take a look at this swing going the opposite way, up and out over the plate. No thought at all about that ball not going out of here. Justice knew it was gone when he felt it jump off the bat. So did Doug Drabek.
So a pair of one-out home runs by McGriff and Justice, and Glavine, and the Braves regain their 2-run lead. And the Tomahawks are out.
Well, that's the 3rd home run that Drabek has allowed tonight. He'd just given up 15 coming into this game, which is a pretty respectable total when you consider he's made 34 starts now.
Terry Pendleton up. Strike on the inside.
Before the game, I asked Justice if they were pretty confident they needed to just go out and win every game they played. And they said, nope, we need somebody to beat the Giants. And they got that tonight. Justice said that the Giants are so hot right now, we might need some help.
Well, they're helping themselves pretty well tonight. And now the Tomahawks have stopped, and kind of a new chant I haven't heard here before. Whoa, don't tell me. Pendleton gets under it. Finley in center field has room. And so a bid at 3 straight home runs falls a little short. 2 fly balls to center field, 2 fly balls to the bleachers thus far for the Braves. And action going in the Houston pen. The right-hander that's up is Tom East of Edens. This is Damon Berryhill, whose 3-run home run gave Atlanta the 3-1 lead in the second. Chopper. Lindemann has it to Drabek, and the Braves are gone. But they unload against Doug Drabek. First Fred McGriff, then David Justice. Long ball for Atlanta. 5-3 Braves. It's on in Atlanta, and the power surge is on here in Atlanta Fulton County Stadium for the 4th time this year. Back-to-back home runs by McGriff and Justice. 4th time they've done it back-to-back this year. And so gone inside of, after 3 innings of work, is Doug Drabek. In the 9th spot here in the order, Rick inside the Parker will be the pinch hitter. So much for kind of salvaging a season which has gone sour for Doug Drabek, and kind of driving a stake into a team that drove one into him with Pittsburgh. He'll have more chances in years to come, but tonight he leaves on the wrong end of a 5-3 score here in the top of the 4th. Buck two former Cy Young Award pitchers, Drabek and Glavine. 3 innings of work. Parker fouls it back. Count is 2-1. 3 innings of work, 8 runs, 13 hits, 3 home runs.
Well, the thing about both of these pitchers, they rely an awful lot on control. They're not overpowering, and they have to move the ball around and change speeds, and neither one of them have had real good control here tonight. Glavine has a chance to work his way out of it. Drabek's done for the night.
Parker grounds it to short. Blauser on the tricky hop. Over to McGriff, and there's one down here in the 4th. Well, the pennant race is right here on ESPN. Friday night, we go back at it. Our opening game, the Atlanta Braves against the Colorado Rockies. In that ball game, Steve Avery goes against Greg Harris. And then the nightcap, the Giants at the Dodgers, game 2 of their 4-game set. Burkett and Ramon Martinez. So we take you right to the end. If they're tied on Sunday, the Braves and Giants, we will do a game on Sunday afternoon. And if they are tied on Sunday night, we will do a game on Monday night, 10:30 p.m. Now, I know you say 10:30. Gee, the kids, they can't watch it. We all agree. The problem is the 49ers are home during the day at Candlestick. Remember, Candlestick, one of the first parks made with movable seats. They cannot get it ready. They just can't do it. Get it ready for an afternoon game, even a late afternoon game, a 4 o'clock start. So that's why it's a night game. It's going to be the wee hours of the morning in the East. But that can't be moved. Biggio fouls it off. The only thing, I guess, that the Braves did wrong during that 32-7 streak was lose the coin flip to San Francisco.
That's about the only thing they lost during that hot streak. Bobby Cox was hoping that he doesn't have to worry about a playoff game.
That's when the Braves were hitting everything that was thrown and striking out everybody. And Sherholtz got the call on the conference call a few weeks back. And I forget if he called tails, it was heads, it was tails, whatever. At that point, it looked like a moot point. May not be. Biggio, a moot point as Glavine strikes him out. And that's a guy, Buck, that has hit Glavine pretty well through the years. And he's 0 for 3 against Tommy tonight. So, oddly enough, Glavine has struggled tonight, but not against the guy that usually does him in.
Well, here's the difference right there. He comes inside. He hadn't done much of that early in the ball game, and all of a sudden this is a little bit more like what Glavine has done in the second half of the season. A couple pitches outside makes the hitter think about going out over that plate, and then he busts Biggio inside and got the strikeout.
Steve Finley up 1 for 2. Steve Dorsal Finley hit a home run last night, a solo home run. Finley, along with Pete Harnish and Kurt Schilling, came over a few years ago for Glenn Davis. I would say the Astros are pretty happy with the deal, although then they let Schilling go on to the Philadelphia Phillies. They could never figure out what Schilling should do here. Start, relief. Schilling didn't have a grip on himself at the time. Imagine if they had kept him as well.
They probably wouldn't have been able to give him the opportunity to develop as a starter. That's why they moved him along. Everybody knows that Schilling had always had that good arm.
Slicing down the left field line, but Gant, oh, a tough catch by Ronnie Gant over the mound in the Astros pen. Gant had Finley played perfectly and made the play. It was 5-3. The Giants lost this afternoon to Colorado 5-3, which means the Braves win it. They go up by 1 against the Giants with 4 to go. This is what the Giants pitching rotation will look like at L.A. Swift and Burkett, their two 20-game winners, open it up tomorrow and Friday against Tom Candiotti and Ramon Martinez. Brian Hickerson will have to wait and see how he took that line drive last night against giant killer Oral Hershiser. And Solomon Torres, the youngster that got roughed up today early on by Colorado, the youngster who was in Double-A until late in the season. He goes in the final game of the season against Kevin Gross. With a pinch hitter for Drabek in the top of the 4th, that means he's gone, and Tom East of Edens is on.
Hayden's worked with the Twins last year, and he was allowed to move on in the expansion draft. Florida took him in the second round and later traded him to Houston. This is his 38th game of the season. Pitched very well for them in the middle.
Pitched for the Twins when they won it in '91, 2 years ago, and Drabek has seen enough. He'll go. There's Pete Harnish, who twirled yet another beauty. I don't know if there's any pitcher. I know Greg Maddux has been great and Rijo has, but nobody's been better than Harnish in the last 2 months of the season. And he got another star in his cap. If it's for third place, he'll go again on Sunday to try and add to his win total. But if the Astros have third place wrapped up, he'll shut it down for the year at 16-9. That's a pretty good year. All-Star a couple years ago will be an All-Star again. Lemke with a nice piece of hitting through the hole on the left side, leads off with a single in the fourth.
Well, this is the way the Braves were swinging the bats all the way throughout that climb back up to catch the Giants. Everybody up and down the lineup making contributions. And look at that pitch away from Mark Lemke, probably out of the strike zone away. But he stays with it and strokes it into left field. That's his first hit of the night and 2 trips.
So here is Tommy Glavine, who singled his 14th hit of the year back in the second inning. Caminiti weighing on the grass, obviously expecting the bunt. A good bunt. Lindemann has to play it over to Biggio. Good job by Glavine. No way they could even think about looking at second for Lemke, and the crowd gives him an appreciative hand.
Well, that's the 11th sacrifice for Tom Glavine, and watch how well he does this. Off the end of the bat, he really kills it, drags it down the line with him. Lindemann makes the play, but Glavine gets the job done as he moves Lemke into second base.
Lindemann's throw almost caused trouble. You see that? Biggio had to get it out of the way. Could have been popped by the base runner. Leo Mazzoni, Bobby Cox. Asking, sure Otis will having a bit of time to relax on the bench. Nixon kind of waves at that one. It's 0-1. Lemke, the runner at second base. 5-3 Atlanta, bottom of the fourth. All home runs tonight for Atlanta. 3-run shot by Berryhill in the second inning. And then the back-to-back home runs, McGriff and Justice, in the third inning. Fastball misses inside and backs Otis off. It's 1-1.
You know, Chris, this club took off when Otis Nixon took over every day in the leadoff spot. They finally decided to leave him out there in center field and let him play against all types of pitchers and gave him some confidence. When you think about everything this ball club has overcome throughout the course of the summer, you've got to really marvel at how they were able to put together such a hot streak. Terry Pendleton walked off the field when he disagreed with the pitcher not standing up for the hitters. And then Otis Nixon was upset because he wasn't playing all the time.
Deion Sanders bolted the club for a couple weeks in early May.
And they didn't have much offense early on.
And, oh, by the way, they were down by 9 at the All-Star break to a team that's won 100 games already. They have run down an 100-game team. But just think about that as count as 3-2 to Nixon. They didn't just overcome the Dodgers of '91, who were a good team, and they nipped and tucked that one back and forth. And the Giants have won 100 games with 5 to go, 4 to go. 3-2 pitch to Otis. Hits it in the air to center field. Finley there. Lemke back to second place. I mean, let's put into context. Whoever loses, Buck, this battle between the Braves and the Giants will be a 100-win team. These are the only clubs that have won 100 or more games and did not win the pennant. The 09 Cubs, the 42 Dodgers losing out to the Cardinals. The 54 Yanks lost to the Indians, who won 111 games. 62 Dodgers lost in the 3-game playoff to the Giants, who won 2 out of 3. 61 Tigers lost to the Yankees. The 15 Tigers, Ty Cobb and the boys, and the 80 Orioles. They lost out to the Yankees. So whoever loses this knows that they did about as best as they could.
Yeah, neither one of them can really be disappointed by the win total. They can be very disappointed by the fact that they're sitting home watching the other team play.
If you're tuning in late, the Giants have lost this afternoon. The Braves are up here 5-3. 2 out, runner at second, bottom of the 4th. San Francisco flying right down to Los Angeles, where they will play the rival Dodgers in a 4-game set. Did he go around? Yes, he did 1 and 2. Now the question is, and this is not enough time for really the debate, do proponents of the best wild card team scenario that comes in next year, is this proof that they should have a wild card system? Or, if you keep in mind, all of this great race in September goes by the boards because there's no suspense. Both the Braves and Giants are in.
I think there's arguments to support either case. You could say, well, you know, the Giants deserve to be in postseason with the fine season they've put together. Or like you say, when you go down to last week of the season, they would both make it and all of the drama would be non-existent.
Blauser foul, tips it off the catcher Scooter Tucker. Count remains at 2-2. I don't know. I just think they went to this wild card scenario too soon. I think they wait till they should 5 teams in each division, and there are 30 teams. I know that would have created some New York, Baltimore, Texas excitement, and I guess that's what they're trying to do. But the way I look at the wild card situation is it only should be in play, and obviously you can't say sometimes yes, sometimes no. Book John is a good book, but it should only be in play to reward teams like the Giants or the Braves. Well, I'm not really in favor of it, even though it's a shame that one of these two won't make it. Braves trying to pad their lead. Good play by Tucker. Ball bounced by Eden. His count is full. Ron Gant on deck. Second, the relay is offline. Double by Jeff Blauser makes it 6-3 Atlanta. Two out, runners in scoring position hitting. Blauser's been sensational all year, Buck.
And he comes through again. He picks up his 71st RBI by ripping a ball over Caminiti's head down into the corner. You can see Lemke comes around. He'll score easily as he gets the stand-up signal from Ronnie Gant. But Jeff Blauser, by many, many followers of this ball club, has been the most consistent and, in certain aspects, the most valuable player on this team for his defensive work and his stability.
Remember last night, Buck, he was plunked in the helmet by a Harnish fastball. The ball ricocheted so much off the helmet that it went past the screen and into the crowd like a foul ball. Well, as they said last night, they always knew Blauser was hard-headed. He's a hard-nosed player.
Well, he's had a big year here.
Fastball to Gant, misses. 1-1.
You know, Chris, there was a time when everybody was saying, well, you know, Bowser's just there at shortstop until Chipper Jones develops, and then we'll move him out. I don't think that's the sentiment anymore. I don't think anybody's going to move out Jeff Blauser for a while. Bobby Cox isn't ready to move him out.
Off-speed pitch hits the outside corner for a strike. 1-2. Swung on and missed by Gant, and the Braves are gone, but not until they pick up another run. They've scored in 3 of the 4 innings tonight, and they lead the Astros after 4, 6-3. In search of win number 21, has a 6-3 lead against the Astros. Doug Drabeck was gone after 3 innings. Glavine is there, and now he will face 3, 4, 5. Gonzalez, Caminiti, and Bass. Gonzalez with a strike. The count is 1-1. Luis Gonzalez from Tampa has a 15-game hitting streak on the line right now. He is 0 for 2. He has a 16-game hitting streak off the glove of Lemke for a base hit. Now, Tommy Glavine hasn't been that sharp tonight, but he has enjoyed a very solid season. We talked to him about 93 versus his other years.
I feel good. I mean, this is probably the best I've felt at any point in my career. A lot like 90 when Bobby and Leo came in here and got on Leo's throwing program later in that year. I felt real strong in September of 90, and I feel a lot like that right now. I just feel like I'm going out there and everything feels physically real good, and I just feel like I'm going out there and doing the things I want to do.
That's why he was so upset by giving up the early runs.
He may be more upset if this one plunks in, but no, Gant is there to squeeze the ball by Caminiti to left. And there is one, and he's given up 7 hits tonight, Buck.
Yeah, he's been up a little bit more than he would like to be. And he hasn't been ahead in the count very often tonight. And that's caused him problems. But much like his last start against the Phillies, he had a 3-run second inning, but that was the only scoring the Phils could muster against Glavine through 6 innings.
With 1 out and the runner at first base, Gonzalez, Kevin Bass is up. Bass delivered an RBI double in the 3rd and then later came around to score on a Cedeno single. Bass, an all-star with these Astros back in '86. The last year that the Astros got in the playoff. That memorable 6-game series against the Mets. That one game that went forever. 16 innings. Some wild games in New York. Lenny Dykstra had a big series for the Mets in that one, hitting 2 homers in one of the games in New York. It's a long time ago, Lenny Dykstra in the Mets. Count is 2-0 to Kevin Bass. Bay Area. Redwood City, which is where the 49ers used to train, a little bit down on the peninsula, about a 25-minute ride from Candlestick, and really enjoyed playing for his hometown team, at least his team when he grew up, the Giants, the last 3 years. Now, in 1992, he played there. He said that in that 4-game series, in which the Giants took 3 of 4 in the Dome against the Astros, he was trying as hard as he could to beat his old mates. But now, told him he'd do his best in this 3-game series.
Trying to help him out,
yep.
Yeah.
Deck is Andujar Cedeno. Pretty exciting times for those of us that have been at ESPN for this long, Buck. I've been there 14 years, and well, Friday night at 7:30 we start another network, ESPN2. Sports Night begins at 7:30 Eastern Time. 3 hours of news and highlights and interviews and music and videos and so much more. You'll see some new faces, some old faces like Keith Olbermann. I think I'll don the purple jacket for opening night on Friday night. NHL live games 3 nights a week. Some college basketball, some news shows, some theme blocks. Adventure Zone, Driving Force. We got all sorts of workout shows. We got beach volleyball. And I tell you, ESPN2 will be complete. I have to negotiate this one with the return of Australian rules football. When that comes, ESPN2 will be on the map. Until that comes, we'll just give it a shot. Giving this a shot by Bass to center field. Nixon makes the play. Gonzalez back to first. There's 2 outs. I don't want to sound like a promo here, but for those of us, there were 60 or 70 of us in 1979 in the fall when we went on the air, and I think that we're going to launch a second network. We got a radio network involved internationally. This makes us pretty proud from whence we have come.
Major League Baseball.
Good luck
opportunity maybe to have a potential playoff game Monday.
We're pretty excited. We hope you are excited by the new network as well. But don't leave us here on the old network. I never thought I'd say that one. Andujar Cedeno has been pretty excited against the Atlanta Braves. These are his last 4 games overall. In these 2 games against the Braves, he has 5 RBIs. 2 tonight, 3 last night. 2 home runs. Glavine working him with a good pitch on the outside corner for a strike, 0-1. Greg Maddux bested by Pete Harnisch last night. He'll go again Saturday here against Colorado. Fastball misses outside, 1-1.
Well, they're trying to stay away from Cedeno. Don't want to give him anything on the inner half of the plate. The home run he hit earlier in the ball game, a first pitch fastball inside part of the plate. Looks like Leo Mazzoni's pitching out there. At least his thoughts are with Glavine on the mound.
There goes the base runner Gonzalez, and a good pitch to steal on. So good that Berryhill doesn't even throw. Slow curveball, and he got a good jump. So stolen base for Luis Speedy Gonzalez, number 18.
He gets a good read off Glavine and gets a nice jump, and then he's got the curveball that helps him out. Berryhill doesn't even chance to throw to second. So Gonzalez moves into scoring position with 2 down. Situation there, you wouldn't think they might run down by 3 runs, but that's been a big part of the Astros game all year long.
Cedeno, homer, RBI single tonight. Can he deliver another one? Fouls it back. Count remains at 1-2. Well, they thought of great things, Art Howe and company did for Andujar Cedeno when 93 games at Tucson in AAA in 91. He hit .303.
Well, he's been inconsistent at the plate and in the field, but that's what you get when you get young players. They have to get up here and play a few games and recognize what they can do, what they can't do.
Well, we saw last week Will Cordero for Montreal. In some ways, Royce Clayton for San Francisco, and really Jose Offerman for LA. A new breed of National League shortstops. All these guys may be around and be big contributors for a while, but not everyone can step right in and be Ozzie Smith.
Well, even the Ozzie Smiths and the Gary Templetons and the Freddie Pateks of the world that were good shortstops in the big leagues made a lot of errors early on.
I think one that came in fielding better, Barry Larkin came in pretty accomplished, did he not?
Yeah, he did. He was pretty polished, pretty smooth with the glove and the bat.
2-2 to Cedeno. Outside, the count is full. Well, Tommy Glavine working with a 3-run lead. I know he wants to be careful with Cedeno, but I don't think he wants to put the tying run at the plate.
Jim Lindemann has a couple of hits tonight, and in his career, he is 4 for 5 against Tom Glavine.
Off-speed pitch, chop. Nice play by Matt Galante. Barehanding it. Third base coaching box.
Take a look at this 2-strike swing. He's thinking about another home run, isn't he?
Tough to hit a curveball down and in for a home run.
These are the things that young players will learn to make adjustments when they get 2 strikes. Shorten up on the stroke, try to go the other way.
Off speed up top, and he does lose Cedeno. So 2 aboard for Jim Lindemann, who has singled twice tonight. Lindemann, the one-time St. Louis Cardinal, with some World Series experience in '87. And the Cardinals lost in that home team win all 7 series between the Twins and St. Louis. Ball 1. Lindemann with the Cardinals, Detroit in '90, the Phillies the last 2 years. Steve Bedrosian, Kent Merker up throwing again. Second time they've been up. Tommy Glavine has thrown 94 pitches in 4 2/3 innings. Here goes the runner. The throw by Berryhill. There's nobody at third. What a play by Pendleton. Oh man, I can't believe Berryhill let it fly, because both runners could have run forever.
Well, Chris, you just can't take time to look and see if the third baseman is there. You see the base runner because you're looking past the pitcher and you can see his break at second, and you don't have time to check and see if the guy's going to cover third. Take a look at Pendleton. I don't think he ever sees the base runner coming. He watches the hitter and he's totally surprised by it. It's only this fine effort that saves that run right there.
Well, it saves 2 runs. There's no question about it.
Be like a line drive hit down into the corner. But Berryhill can't wait to see if Pendleton's covering the base. He just expects it.
What a break that would have been for the Astros. I mean, that's just like a reaction of a line drive off a bat by Pendleton, isn't it, Buck?
Well, it's even more impressive because he relaxes after the ball passes the hitter. I don't know how he got over there.
That was great. Gonzalez at third, Cedeno at second. Count is 2-1 to Jim Lindemann. Lindemann tries to go opposite way, fouls it back. Tommy Glavine up near the 100-pitch zone. And his next start would be with 3 days rest Sunday at home here against Colorado.
Well, right now the Braves are in a situation where they're not looking ahead at all. They're going to leave Glavine out there as long as they believe he's effective. And they'll worry about Sunday on Sunday.
Did he hold? They check with Paul Runge at first. He did hold. Count is full. Well, I'd say the runners would be going, but at second and third, where are they going to go? They've already stolen their way around that far. What a play by Pendleton, though. This would have been a 6-5 game, no doubt about it. Glavine induces a slow roller. Lepke over to McGriff. And the Astros strand a pair. Terry Pendleton in a play you will not see in the box score. Perhaps the biggest play for the night for the Braves. ESPN's presentation of Major League Baseball is brought to you by Smooth Bush Beer, an easy drinking Bush Light. And by New Edge Shave Gel. Ultimate closeness, ultimate comfort. That's the edge. Welcome back to Atlanta, where the Braves lead the Astros 6-3 in the bottom of the 5th, but it was almost a 6-5 game were it not for the brilliance of Terry Pendleton.
Well, he forgot to check the runner at second base. He didn't see him breaking toward third. And he went over to talk to Berryhill. He said, "My fault, man." He said, "I never saw Finley break toward third." But what a recovery to save 2 runs. He didn't react until he saw the ball coming down to third and still got over on the foul line to make the play.
Fred McGriff leads off his last time up in the third. He homered, followed by David Justice homer. Oh, by the way, when McGriff homers for the Braves, Atlanta is 14-1.
Now you're going to see a different approach here as Edens works to McGriff. Edens has enough on his four-seam fastball to go upstairs and get McGriff to try to get on top of it, chase up. Oops, he got one down.
Handled by Lindemann. One up, one down. 4 times this year now, McGriff and Justice have gone deep. In the third inning with one out.
This is why you don't want to pitch Fred McGriff low. And then look at Justice going to center field. No doubt about that. He felt it come off the bat and knew he had his 38th homer. 39th. Check that.
The Braves still have a shot to have a pair of 40-run home run hitters. Of course, the last time that happened in the National League was here when 3 guys had 40 in 1973. Davy Johnson, Darrell Evans, some guy named Aaron. Wasn't Tommy Aaron. Oh, that is a great answer to a trivia question. The brothers with the most home runs in baseball history, the Aarons. Hank, 755. I think Tommy had 14 or 19. I think he had 14. Good play by Tucker, the catcher. And there are 2 down. Yeah, 755 and 14, 769 is the answer to that trivia question. A nice shot here, another full yard here in Atlanta. Looking at these scores, but who cares? It's all over but the shouting. Well, there's some games for second place, third place that have mattered to teams that have been at this thing since February in Florida and Arizona. This is Terry Pendleton who made that play in the field. And he looks at strike 1. Count is 1-1 to Pendleton. The Braves stand to win their 101st game tonight, which means that in the next 4, say they win 3 of them, they win 104. There have only been 14 teams in National League history to win 104 games and 14 in the American League. I mean, we've been playing baseball a long time, so that puts into perspective what both the Braves and the Giants can do.
Anytime you hit the 90-win mark, that's considered to be a very good year. And anything above that is a bonus. But boy, that 100 mark, just pointed out, very elusive.
Last time a National League team won 104 games was the 1953 Brooklyn Dodgers, who won 105. So that hadn't been done in 40 years. The Braves could do that. I told you they hadn't won 100 since the Boston Bean Eaters. The Giants have won 100 games for the 6th time in their history. 62, they won 103, but then you go back to the John McGraw era. 1913, 1912, 1905, and 1904. Pendleton ought to hit this one out of the yard. Almost one hopper off the wall. Terry in to second base with a double. So Pendleton aboard with a 2-out double. Aboard with us, John Saunders.
And Budweiser takes us to Kansas City, where, as you know, George Brett makes an appearance in his final game in the uniform of the Kansas City Royals. He goes on the road to finish up his career in Arlington, Texas. And George Brett, we will follow every at-bat tonight. In his first, pops this one out to left field, and he is retired. But obviously the standing ovation from George Brett comes up again. Take you out there again. Chris and Buck.
What emotion. emotional night it is for George, I'm sure. Can't quite see him behind the desk as a VP. Can you, Buck?
No, I certainly can't see him wearing a suit and a tie.
No.
What a way to go out for him on top.
Damon Berryhill, who hit a 3-run homer off Doug Drabeck in the second, looks at strike one. All you have to do is like baseball to like George Brett. That's easy. You and he broke in together, huh?
Actually, yeah, he came up in 72. I was up earlier than that.
Roomies. Young George. I won't even ask. Sure, you made a lot of curfews. Count is 0-2 to Berryhill. Shane Reynolds throwing in the Astro pen. Good job by Edens against Berryhill, and Pendleton is stranded at second base. We have played 5 here in Atlanta. 6-3 Braves. Do it again. They lead tonight heading into the top of the 6th, 6-3, all on long ball. 3-run home run by Berryhill. Well, most on long ball. McGriffin Justice with solo homers. Blauser with a double. The only only run scored tonight for the Braves. Not on a home run. Tucker, a batter for the pitcher. And Biggio up for the Stros. Now the veteran Mike Brumley, who played most of the year at Tucson but got a shot here with the Astros as of late, will be the pinch hitter. Up top and outside, 2-1.
Well, Tom Glavine has settled in here somewhat. After giving up 2 runs in the 3rd inning, he was very upset with what he was doing on the mound and has made some adjustments. He had a 1-2-3 4th and then stranded a couple of runners on in the 5th when he got Jim Lindemann to hit a weak ground ball to second.
2-2 pitch to Tucker. Strike 3. Of course, college football, we're off and running. College game day with Chris Fowler and Coach Corso and Craig James. Great show at 11:30 in the morning Eastern. Followed at 12:30 Eastern time by Big Ten football, Iowa against the Wolverines of Michigan, and then at 7:30 Eastern time, number 2 Alabama at South Carolina. So college game day and a double dip for you on Saturday. But, I mean, look at the week as Mike Brumley up looks at strike 1. Football tomorrow night, Noon Network Friday night, and a baseball doubleheader. Pair of college football games Saturday. NFL game day and prime time on Sunday. Possible baseball game and then possible playoff between the Giants and Braves Monday. The plate be full. And believe it or not, Tuesday they dropped the puck. Penguins and Flyers on Tuesday night. Are we there already? Didn't the Canadians just win?
Summer has gone by quickly, hasn't it?
It's gone, eh? Onto the count to Mike Brumley. Bases clear. 1 out. 6-3 Braves. Top 6. Giants have lost 5-3 to Colorado this afternoon. Braves would regain the 1-game lead they lost last night.
Well, you mentioned Colorado coming in here to play Atlanta over the weekend. Atlanta's beat them 10 straight this year.
Are they due? That's the due theory if I ever heard of it.
Well, they're playing pretty well right now.
Yeah, they are. course, if you look at the Giants-Dodgers series, they have played three-game series. The Dodgers have taken 2 of 3 all 3 times. So those numbers certainly favor the Braves. Remember, if there is a 1-game playoff, it'll be Monday night from Candlestick. Braves, Giants, Swift and Smoltz would be the starters. 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 on the coast. But a nice 4:30 start in Hawaii. Ripped, but Lemke snares it. Brumley retired.
Well, Brumley fouled off several pitches in this battle with Tom Glavine and hits one on the button, but it's right at Mark Lemke, who makes an easy play of it.
Two down. Craig Biggio up. Off-speed pitch. Grounded to Pendleton. And a 1-2-3 6th inning for Tom Glavine. Braves lead the Astros 6-3.
Great games when you think right back here at this ballpark, the 5-run comeback by the Braves against Cincinnati. We had a great game in Pittsburgh early on, and I tell you, there's been an outstanding season, and I've enjoyed it, Chris.
It's been fun, and we're not done, though. We are not done. Tommy Glavine seems to have settled down a little bit, though, Buck, that last half inning.
Yeah, he's kind of gotten a little more consistently in the strike zone and been able to get out the breaking ball over and the off-speed pitch over. The Braves have a 3-run lead here in the 6th and trying to hang on to it.
Shane Reynolds will be the 3rd pitcher tonight for the Houston Astros. Drabek went 3, and then Edens went the next bunch.
Well, Shane Reynolds came up on the 14th of September.
It's getting tangled up in blue here. I'm not used to wearing my jacket here during the game. I had to look good. Rip, but right on the line to the left fielder, Luis Gonzalez. And Lemke is gone. So there's one out here in the 6th inning. A reminder, the Giants have lost. You just tuned in. First of all, where you been all night. Second of all, we will be nice. We'll tell you that they lost 5-3 to the Rockies. So the Braves looking for win number 101, a silly millimeter longer. And they'll be a 1 game up on the Giants. Shane Reynolds recalled from AAA Tucson on the 14th of this month. At Tucson, 10-6 with a 3.62 ERA. Started 20 games, relieved in 5. 139 in the 3rd innings pitch, 106 strikeouts. Bounces that one. And is 1-1 to Glavine.
Well, that was a pretty good split finger pitch right there. Hit the plate, bounced up, got the catcher. What Glavine has made a contribution at the plate. He had a sacrifice and a single.
Now this run on Wednesday Night Baseball, I'll tell you something. Whoever wins, be it the Braves or the Giants, I think in retrospect, I know there's lots of heroics set to come these next 4 games. Count is 2-2 to Glavine. But whoever wins, I think we were lucky enough to be here on Wednesday night to see it. The game you spoke about on camera, the 5 in the 9th, 3-run homer by Gant off the top of the left field fence. That point moved the Braves up 3.5 on the Giants. They would go 4 up the next night. Glavine is gone. Let's check in with John Saunders.
Well, as Budweiser takes us back to Kansas City, George Brett up once again, his 2nd at bat, and this is final game in Kansas City. Kenny Lofton makes it interesting, but he flies out just the same. We'll take you back there next time as well. Back to you.
All right, John, thanks. We started to say that The Gant home run 2 weeks ago may prove to be the margin by which the Braves win. If the Giants win, the game here on September 1st, when John Patterson pinch hit a home run in the 9th inning, gave the Giants their only win in 6 games late in the year against the Braves. But if they win, I mean, that's a 2-game swing. So we may look back at that and say that was the one that won it. And Gant's home run may be the one to have won it.
You know, the Braves had a streak during that week where they had 3 come from behind wins. Justice with a home run, Gant with his home run, and then Jeff Blauser had an infield hit in extra innings to win a ball game. You know, Dusty Baker's made a couple of moves that could have been questioned that paid off, and he was just playing hunch. Just playing a hunch when he put Patterson up there in that Brave game. And he hit the home run. He did the same yesterday with Steve Scarsoni, who had struggled a bit, but put him in the lineup, and he hit a 3-run homer.
Well, Tommy Glavine has worked hard tonight, but 2 of the last 3 innings have been 1, 2, 3 innings for him. Nixon chops, and this is going to be trouble. Cedeno, let's see the arm. He knew who was running, and he got rid of it in a hurry. So a 1, 2, 3 inning for Shane Reynolds. We've played 6-3 Hotlanta. Tommy Glavine is resilient. He's in the 4-man rotation, and that means sometimes working with just 3 days rest, which he would have to do on Sunday. What about it, Tom?
We've had a number of off days here, so it's made it a little bit easier for us to get our normal 5 days rest. And hopefully I'm not going to have to pitch on Sunday. If I do, it'll be the 3rd time I'd come back early this year. And in all honesty, the 2 times I've done it this year is probably the best I've felt out there pitching.
He's thrown 114 pitches tonight, Buck, but settled down lately.
Yeah, he has, and it was his control that was causing him problems early in the game. He was all over the place and couldn't find the strike zone, but he settled in here after that 3rd inning when he gave up 2 runs. It's interesting that Glavine is still out there, but he's starting to settle in. You know, Bobby Cox is not really quick to go to the bullpen. He's had some problems out there recently,
including last night.
And he would just as soon have Glavine stretch him out if he can.
Although the call has just gone down to the pen to get some guys up. Saw Bedrosian and Merker up twice earlier, but that was more the long relief stopgap role. Now it looks like, is it McMichael up there and Stanton? Can't take a look.
I think it's Jay Howell and Merker. Yeah,
like I said, I got to have these glasses adjusted.
Yeah, Jay Howell's a right-hander.
Howell isn't. Seen limited duty lately. Steve Finley up to count 3-1. Strike 3-2. Finley, Gonzalez, and Caminiti 2-3-4 for the Astros, who want to get something going here against Tommy Glavine and the Braves. Braves win. They go up by 1 on the Giants. Finley is punched out and doesn't like the call by Jerry Lane, but he'll sit.
Now that's the 4th strikeout for Tom Glavine, and watch the control. Fastball outside. Finley's ready to toss the bat aside, but Jerry Lane rings him up. Now Finley thought it was outside.
Bring Luis Gonzalez up, and he looks at ball 1. Gonzalez singled his last time up, stole a pair of bases, and when he stole 3rd, that was the play that Pendleton made to prevent the throw from Berryhill to go way down the left field line. Pendleton didn't really go over and cover the bag. Had Pendleton not made that play in the 5th inning, 2 runs would have scored. It would have been a 6-5 game. As a result, he makes it, and the Braves have a nice cushion.
Well, Berryhill saw the base runner at second break toward 3rd and just fired a strike over the bag, but Pendleton didn't break to cover.
Ripped by Gonzalez to right field. He's aboard for the second time tonight. Well, the Astros have certainly swung the bats well. They have 8 hits now, along with their 3 runs. Last night they had 12 hits. So getting hits against the vaunted Brave pitching staff has not been the problem here for the Stros.
Well, Luis Gonzalez is probably going to hit 300 this year when you think where his average was before this season, a 247 career hitter. Another positive in an otherwise dismal season for the Astros.
Caminiti has walked twice and flown out to left field. He has scored a run, scoring on Kevin Bass's double. Home run by Cedeno in the second, an RBI double by Bass, and an RBI single by Cedeno in the third. Accounted for the 3 Astro runs. At that time, when they got the 2 runs in the third, they had tied the game 3-3. Glavin's throwing a lot of pitches, Buck. What do you think Leo Mazzoni's thinking about now?
Well, I think they're going to watch where they are in the batting order. Remember, Kevin Bass is on deck. He has 3 career home runs against Tom Glavine. Bobby Cox is looking at the lineup card, trying to figure out when he might have to pull the plug on Tom Glavine. Cox has got a left-hander and a right-hander ready down in the bullpen.
Isn't it funny that sometimes just certain batters you just can't throw a strike? Last night, Harnish, as good as he was, walked Lemke 3 times. Caminiti is count as 3-0. He may walk 3 times against Glavine. Sometimes it works that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, he just can't get comfortable as that hitter steps in and really can't pick up the strike zone. You know, this has been an emotional roller coaster for Glavine and for Cox and Mazzoni. He was wild early, couldn't find the plate.
Well, he's come back to get the count to 3-2. 9 times Glavine's gone to 3 balls on a batter tonight. So you said his control was off, and yes, it has been. Now, as a catcher, a veteran pitcher like Glavine, who obviously knows what he's doing out there, is having control problems. What do you say to him, either on the mound or in the dugout between innings?
What you can do is make subtle adjustments by setting up a little more over the plate to try to get him back into the strike zone.
Rip, but this is going to be foul.
Those are the types of things you wouldn't talk about. You just go ahead and do them just to give him a different target, a different angle of things. So Barry Hill could just slide over the plate a little bit more, trying to bring that sinking fastball back into the strike zone. It's something you wouldn't want to tell your pitcher you're doing, and he wouldn't really notice if you were really subtle about it. He pitches to the catcher.
Here goes the base runner on the 3-2, but it's foul back. So Gonzalez returns.
One thing you can do with Glavine is you can try different pitches, because he has his breaking ball, he has the 4-seam fastball, sinking fastball, and the changeup. So you keep searching for something that he can consistently throw in the strike zone. And Glavine knows what's going on. He knows that Barry Hill's trying to find the best pitch on this particular night.
3-2 the count to Caminiti. Ripped to left field, but gets under it just a bit. Gant makes the catch on the line, and Gonzalez, who was all the way to second base, will go back to first. Just missed it, did Ken Caminiti.
Well, he got it inside just enough that Caminiti couldn't really extend and drive it. He had to draw his arms in to make solid contact. Now watch how he brings his arms in. Never really gets all of it. Hits it in the air, and he knows he didn't get enough of it.
So Ken Caminiti will sit down. And Kevin Bass gets his shot. Bass doubled in 3 trips tonight.
Well, if Bass keeps this inning alive, I bet you Glavine doesn't work to Cedeno. Bobby Cox says Jay Howell, the right-hander, ready. And Cedeno's taken some pretty good hacks off of Glavine tonight. Homer the first time, RBI single the second time up, and he walked the third time. So Howell and Merker are ready.
Braves lead it here in the 7th inning, 6-3. Chris Berman along with Buck Martinez bringing to a close our Wednesday night baseball. And we have, just by the roll of the dice, had more good games this year than I think I've done in the previous 3 years combined. There's the strength. The Olsen home run here against the Phillies, a 4-run eighth for Atlanta in early August. A couple of wild West Coast games we were doing after hockey. The Oakland, Texas game. Gonzalez off Eckersley to give Texas a lead. Then the bottom of the ninth, 2 off Henke. Giants-Mets game early was good. Darwin's one-hitter. We've been very fortunate, and we hope that those of you that have gone along for our ride have enjoyed it. Up top to Bass. Crowd kind of just buzzing. I mean, they got all excited with the home runs, and I don't know, it's back to business as usual. I think they were shocked that the Giants had come back and tied the Braves for first last night, but by the time this game started tonight, they were already back in first alone, the Braves. First time the Giants had been in first place in 2.5 weeks. Ripped by Bass up the middle. Gonzalez takes the turn at second, but Nixon in on it quickly, and Gonzalez holds, so that'll bring the tying run to the plate in the person of Andujar Cedeno. And as you had suggested, Buck, that looks like it'll be it for Tommy Glavine. It'll be the right-hander Jay Howell against the powerful Andujar Cedeno. We'll be back. Glavine, who stands to win his 21st game, a career high.
Well, he got himself straightened out after a rocky start. He allowed 3 runs early in the ball game, but after the 2nd inning, he settled right in and has pitched his club here into the 7th inning. 6 2/3, 9 hits. He really struggled with his control. That is a season high in pitches, 134 total pitches. So he didn't have good command, but he was able to work around it. Now his ball club has an opportunity to close it out and give him his 21st win of the season.
Now, something to keep in mind, 134 pitches if he comes back on the 3 days rest on Sunday against Colorado. Well, with Glavine gone, that'll bring on the veteran right-hander Jay Thurston B. Howell, who has not pitched since September 17th, a game he won against the Mets. But he's made now 52 appearances. That's the most appearances he's made since 1989 with the Dodgers.
Well, the starters have been on such a roll that they haven't had to use an awful lot of guys out of the bullpen. So Howell comes on here to face one of the hottest Astro batters with runners at first and second and 2 down.
Gonzalez at second, Bass at first, and Andujar Cedeno, who has homered and driven in another run with a single, has 5 RBIs in the 2 games here thus far. Howell starts him off speed with a strike in the outside corner.
Well, I'd be surprised if Howell gives Cedeno a fastball to hit here. He's got a good breaking ball, and Cedeno has been all over the fastballs he's seen in this series. Another curveball. It's not a great curveball. You can see it's a little high, but Cedeno has that fastball swing, and his head really pulled off that pitch.
Well, the Astros going to get in it. Here it is, down 6-3, 2 on, 2 out, and Cedeno up, but he's down 0-2. Ooh, fastball that Cedeno really wasn't expecting, just missed. 1-2. Now what, another curve, you think?
Yeah, he'll probably go right back to the breaking ball. Take a look at Berryhill. He's off the plate outside. Howell just trying to spot that pitch. Might have been low. Looked like it ran back over the plate.
Yeah, it did. Curveball. Lemke grabs it at second base, and the Astros rally is stymied. Howell shuts the door. Cedeno lines out. 7th inning stretch time in Atlanta. The Braves are smelling first place again. ESPN's presentation of Major League Baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Fresh, pure, natural, proud to be your Bud. And by Subway, the place where fresh is the taste. Now, Braves fans a little nervous, but no nervousness now as Howell did the job for Tommy Glavine. And here's the reaction when Jay Howell went to the dugout. Glavine was there to greet him. Good job, Thurston. Now I can go take a shower.
Yeah, Glavine got some help from Howell as he stranded 2 runners on base, and the Braves still have a 3-run lead.
Blauser, Gannon, McGriff against Shane Reynolds, working his 2nd inning tonight, the 3rd Astro pitcher. We're having some fun with the fans, yelling at us. They're daring me to do the tomahawk chop. I don't know. I just can't. I can't get the hang of it, Buck.
It's pretty involved.
It is. It's very involved. I just don't think I can do it. With Tom Mees is here at the park too. I don't believe it. That's a cousin of Chief Nakahoma, obviously. Count is 1-2 to Blauser. 3-run homer by Berryhill in the 2nd inning. Back-to-back solo jobs by McGriff and Justice in the 3rd. And an RBI double by this man, Jeff Blauser. That's accounted for the 6 Atlanta runs tonight. Astros had tied it at 3-3 after 2.5 innings, but Atlanta forged back ahead, and then Glavine settled down.
You know, when you talk to the coaches about Jeff Blauser, they describe him as the type of player that does just whatever you need done. Hitting in the 2 spot can be very difficult, and you oftentimes have to take a lot of pitches. But he moves the runners over. He knows too when to turn the bat loose and take advantage of his hitting skills. But he is the epitome of a team player. He's got Otis Nixon hitting ahead of him and gives him the chance to steal a base, and then he'll move him over to 3rd base.
And we put this one up a couple of times. Alvin Dart, last shortstop for the Braves, the Boston Braves, not the Bean Eaters, but the Boston Braves. Last one to hit 300. That's what Blauser was trying to do. He's been hit by a pitch, by the way, last night when he was plunked by Harnish. The 16th time he was hit by a pitch. That's an Atlanta team record. The old record, Felipe Alou, 12 in 66. And another hit by Blauser. Boy, he just continues to handle the bat so well, not to mention how well he's fielded this year. Blauser is 2 for 4.
Well, now he has 176 hits on the season. Take a look at this swing. It's a breaking ball. He stays right with it. Look at his head. It stayed right on that ball, and he drives it up the middle into center field. Watch his head. Stays right down, has a good look at it, and drives it right back into center field.
So the Braves thinking more insurance, and Ronnie Gant is up. Only Brave without a hit thus far tonight is Gant. He's 0 for 3. Grounded to 3rd, flew to center, struck out. So Blauser will return. I know it's not that customary here, but before we get going, we'll get a lot of names in here, but guys in the truck, Bud Bray on graphics. Peter Young, the associate producer. Carol Jessica Langley, our AD. Great job all year, gang. Mark Herklotz in the deli, along with Greg Brickell, Mark Levy, putting on the mayo on those cheese sandwiches. Dave Chase in audio. Bob and Bruce and Al, unit managers. Marty Quality Aronoff keeping us honest up here in the booth. Thanks a lot. They have the toughest job in baseball, Buck, making us look good.
They got their hands full, don't they? Another fine season. Everybody.
We had fun. That's what it's all about, by the way. This just in. It's just baseball. It's fun. It's great. We love it. We're happy to present it to you. The people that work behind the scenes here love baseball as much as you at home, and I hope that's shown for all of us here at ESPN. 2-1 pitch by Gant is fouled back. Action again in the Houston pen. Al Osuna Oleda is up, the left-hander, and Brian Williams, the right-hander. Doug Drabek was gone after 3 tonight. Just didn't have it. And he stands to go to 9-18. 2-2 pitch to Gant. And Ronnie has struck out for the second time this evening. Good fastball by Reynolds.
A similar pitch that he struck out on last time up. Ronnie Gant gets handcuffed with this inside fastball. Pitched by Reynolds. That's the first strikeout for Shane Reynolds since he came into the game. This is his second inning work.
Reynolds, as we said, the third man on. Doug Drabek, well, he's kind of reshuffled the deck for next year. He will return and have a good record. This is just a bad year, trying very hard in his hometown. Grew up right outside in Victoria, Texas. Came back, played college ball at Houston, going home. He will resurface. There's no question about that. This one, though, just throw it out the window. Fred McGriff, the man at the plate, one of the men that helped throw this game out the window for him when he hit home run number 36.
Well, McGriff had really been a problem for Drabek throughout his career, hitting almost 600 against him. And a big home run tonight added to the offensive onslaught of the Braves. Look how Reynolds is pitching McGriff still upstairs.
McGriff now has 18 homers as a Brave in 64 games. He had 18 as a Padre in 83 games.
Well, you plug him into this lineup and everybody gets better.
Reynolds has struck out McGriff, but we told you he had averaging about 7 strikeouts a game in Tucson, and you knew he had the heat. And he now has struck out Gant and McGriff. Pretty good performance.
Not only does he have the heat, but look at the movement. That ball moves back over the plate. A 91-mile-an-hour moving fastball right at the top of the strike zone catches the inside corner.
We'll look at the other scores. David Justice up. I'm going to ask you about Toronto maybe next half inning. What do you think Cito Gaston will do with his starters as he gets set for the White Sox? Both teams, Buck, having the full week getting their pitching rotations in. We know McDowell opens for the White Sox, followed by Fernandez. Unless they're 0-2, I think he goes with Alvarez.
Yesterday he announced Alvarez.
Alvarez and
game
maybe
3,
Beret. The Belcher would not go.
Now, Beret is a possibility in game 4 if he decides to go with 4.
I got to think he goes McDowell as often as possible. That one we pretty much know, but Toronto has some questions with the count 0-2 on Justice. I'm interested to hear your thoughts, because Cito is mum thus far, unless he said something early this evening, which we're not aware of. That's a good pitch again by Reynolds. Just missed, though. 1-2. Well, think about Reynolds here, and we'll get back to Toronto the next half inning. It's close to striking out Gant, McGriff, and Justice. Hello.
That'll make an impression on Art Howe when he thinks about next year.
Threw a pretty good fastball over to Lindemann, too.
Well, the thing about the Astros, you know, they need a couple of good arms down in that bullpen. And from what I've seen tonight, Reynolds might be the type of guy that could actually close for you.
Wow, he has struck out Gant, McGriff, and Justice. No Shane on Reynolds tonight. He has the heater working. We played 7-6-3 Braves. Braves against the Rockies here in our early game. That'll That'll be Avery against Greg Harris. And then the nightcap will be the Giants at the Dodgers. Burkett and Ramon Martinez in that game. Possibly Sunday from L.A., the Giants and Dodgers. And then possibly Monday. Our playoff would be Monday night. Braves at the Giants. There have only been 7 in the history of baseball playoffs to decide individual divisions or leagues. This would be number 8 if we had it on Monday night. The Astros trying to get something going against Jay Howell, who came on with a 2-on situation against Andujar Cedeno, but got him to line out to the second baseman Lemke, and we have a pinch hitter here in the top of the 8th inning, Chris the Donalds, which we named him with the help of our buddy Pete Harnish for the game. Donalds, the one-time New York Met, had been starting much of the since Bagwell got hurt, had gotten a chance to start at first base the last 2 weeks. Tonight they went with Lindemann, and actually Lindemann delivered at the plate. But against the righty, they go the lefty Donalds. Now the Atlanta Braves, whether you talk starters, whether you talk relievers, Buck, day to best.
3.11 ERA as starters. Relievers, they're the best in the majors overall. That adds up to a 3.12 earned run average.
You can make a lot of assumptions when you have that kind of pitching. I mean, you can do a lot of things.
Yeah, that pitching has been outstanding, and it goes without saying it leads all of baseball. But Bobby Cox's team never really took off until the offense got rolling. They needed that little extra offensive spurt that they got when Fred McGriff came over.
Not only do they have the great pitching and the results, they have the steady. You know, Maddox only missed a half a start. He was pushed back 3 days once. When you think about all the starters for the Braves, ripped pretty well to left center field. Back goes Ronnie Gant. Back he goes. Oh, he makes the catch against the wall. Donalds gave it a ride, but Gant was there to squeeze it.
Take a look at this drive by Donalds on a pitch down and away from him. Gant looks as though he knows he's going to catch it. He's got a bead on it and knows he's going to be short of the wall. Crashes into it, but it was pretty relatively easy catch for him.
That'll be a pinch hitter now, the second in a row used by Art Howe. Eddie Taubensee, one of the catchers, regular catcher, along with Service. Tucker up from Tucson got a shot, but with the righty Howell in, we'll let Taubensee bat. Taubensee they acquired for Kenny Lofton. Thus far, that trade weighs big time to the Indians. We started to tell you about, how regular the Braves are. Lavin his 35th start. Maddox made his 35th last night. Avery and Smoltz have each made 34. They'll make their 35th the next 2 nights. Taubensee rips it to left field for a base hit. Compared to what the Giants have done, when, of course, Buddy Black started off great, 8-1, but got hurt. Trevor Wilson been out almost all the year, been out a couple of times. Swift and Burkett have missed a few. I mean, they missed 38 starts of their starters. 11 different starters used by manager Dusty Baker of the Giants. We know who the starters are here in Atlanta. Bobby Cox is going to make the call. We'll be back.
My heroes, my dad.
They pull the outside pitch and hits into a double play. George Brett right now 0 for 3. We'll get you there if we can for his 4th at bat. Chris and Bob.
All right, John, thank you. Well, what did George say? Not on a double play, but he wanted to go out on a 4-3.
4-3 ground out. He said then the fans could say, well, he went out just like he came in, hustling down the line. He wanted to be thrown out by half a step.
Well, the Astros with a base runner here at first with 1 out, and the new pitcher, the man that's inherited the closer's role from about the halfway halfway point on, Greg McMichael. McMichael with the 16 saves, and you see his strikeouts to innings pitched is almost even.
Yeah, he's had an outstanding second half. He's got a very, very good changeup. That has allowed him to strike out as many batters as he has. He'll throw that changeup anytime. Been a double switch. Tony Tarasco comes in and he'll bat in the 9th spot. Dave Justice is out, and McMichael will go into Justice's spot in the lineup.
Eric Anthony is the batter. He's been out because of tendonitis as of late, but Anthony can certainly go deep. He's done it 15 times this year. Little chopper that's foul. Eric Anthony and the Imperials have been waiting for big things from him. And this year he has delivered. Last year hit 19 home runs and 80 RBIs. He had been up with the Astros in 3 previous seasons, 91, 90, and 89, all of which he hit below 200. Anthony's average up at 246, so it's creeping up, and I feel he can be a big player for them. You know, not to compare the Astros to what the Braves have in the home run department, but Biggio and Bagwell have the 20 homers. Anthony 15, Caminiti 13, Gonzalez 15. More power than they've had here lately.
Well, they set a club record in home runs this year. You don't think of them as being a real home run club.
Just foul. That one would have been trouble for Tarasco to go down and field.
Just outside the bag at first. Anthony is a pinch hitter. This is his 14th at bat. He's yet to get a pinch hit.
Eric Anthony grew up in San Diego. 29 and 28 homers in back-to-back seasons in the minors, so they're looking for that sort of production one day from him in the Dome. In fact, Biggio was 0 for 4 against Glavine. We'll be happy to try another pitcher, in this case McMichael. A little looper to left field for a base hit. So Anthony aboard. Talbinzy to second base, and Craig Biggio with 20 home runs, now the tying run at the plate.
Well, Anthony gets his first pinch hit of the season and his first hit in 5 trips against Greg McMichael. Bobby Cox's bullpen lately has been kind of a point of concern. Leo Mazzoni continues to rock.
Rocking the cradle tonight in the Atlanta dugout. Although the Braves have been rocking and rolling to a 6-3 lead, it's tenuous now with Biggio up 0 for 4, and McMichael starts him up with a pitch high. Astros in here again tomorrow night. Darryl Kyle, he had the no-hitter a few weeks ago against John Smoltz. Biggio, 2-time All-Star. Off-speed pitch. Missed. 2-0. McMichael looked good in that closing game against Philadelphia. Had the slider working big time against the Phillies. And the Braves won that second of 3 up there this weekend. Misses 3-0. So do you green light Biggio here? Of course you do.
Yeah, you give him a chance. He's got 20 home runs. Give him a chance to get that fastball.
Finley on deck. 2 runners aboard. Astros trying to get something going, trailing by 3. Ball 4. So the bases are loaded for Steve Finley. Finley homered here last night.
Well, Leo Mazzoni is going to come out of the dugout and have a talk with his right-hander. We talked about McMichael and the second half that he's put together for the Braves since the All-Star break. He's got a 1.38 ERA, and he's 16 of 18 in saves. Right now, Leo Mazzoni, who always preaches to all of his pitchers, strike 1. That puts the pitcher in the driver's seat. Then you can do a lot of things, but when you fall behind the hitters, then you eliminate all of your pitches, and you've got to go with that one you can get in the strike zone. There's a veteran, Steve Bedrosian, who's been very, very good out of the bullpen for the Braves.
Kent Merker sitting down in front. Peter Smith, the left side of your screen. Well, the Astros, just in case you're keeping notes, have not hit a grand slam this year. Crowd now on its feet, some of them. There's a good off-speed pitch for a strike to Finley, and that wakes up the crowd.
Well, you got to know as a hitter that trip to the mound, he's going to encourage McMichael to throw strike one. That's what Finley's done with the bases loaded. 364 average.
Off-speed rip. This could be two. Lemke, Blauser, McGriff. Have had their chances, but this time McMichael slammed the door.
The ball to Lemke, who throws to Blauser, who goes to McGriff to close out the inning.
Watch Bobby Cox. Whoa, there's a ground. What? Second. The relay. Oh, yeah, no problem. 4-6-3. Write it down, Jimmy. Well, so Steve Finley grounds into the double play, and the Astros have stranded 11. They have certainly had their whacks against Tom Glavine and the relievers, but even though they have matched the Braves in hits with 11, they trail by 6-3. And a new pitcher for the Astros is 24-year-old right-hander Brian Williams from Lancaster, South Carolina.
There you see Williams' numbers. 41st game. And this guy has a very good fastball, curveball, slider, and a straight changeup. And he'll come out, and the first batter he's going to face will be Terry Pendleton.
New catcher, Taubensee stays in the game behind the plate. Chris Donald stays in the game at first after their pinch hitting appearances. 49,032 tonight in Atlanta. 37th sellout. Once upon a time, at this time of the year in September, you couldn't give away Braves tickets. 37 sellouts, and let's see, you got how many home dates? You got 4 left, so this is the 77th game. 37 out of 77 sold out. Now they have a lot of these fans in the park tonight have bought their strips of playoff tickets, hoping the Braves can hold off the Giants. Williams strikes out Pendleton. We've seen Reynolds and now Williams combined on 4 straight Ks, Buck.
A couple of pretty good young arms, and look at this breaking ball away from Pendleton with 2 strikes. He has to go on after it.
Well, he'll be in the Brave rotation at about what, 2010?
Looks like a left-hander too.
Yeah.
Wears his hat like a left-hander.
2010.
See, that's a left-hander. That's the way he wears the hat.
Yeah. He's bobbing better than Bobby Cox. Those Braves fans early, they're hooked on their baseball here now. Damon Berryhill swings and misses. Berryhill 3-run homer in the 2nd inning. McGriff and Justice back-to-back homers in the 3rd. Blauser an RBI double in the 4th. We've been at 6-3 since the end of inning number 4. Giants have lost to Colorado 5-3. And they're flying to Los Angeles. And while they're in the air, I think they're hoping for a change. They probably left. They knew it was about 6-3. They're hoping for a change while they're flying, making that turn to final from San Luis Obispo into LAX. Oh, man, we got the King, the Chief. We got them all here tonight. Sellout crowd. You see all sorts. Is everybody here but Youppi tonight? Left him in Montreal.
There's a good curveball.
5 straight strikeouts by the Astros. It's a good thing the Braves did their hitting early.
Good hard-breaking curveball here. Berryhill can't make connections, and Williams is registered 2 strikeouts.
Doug Drabek on the right side of your screen, seeing the Braves bats cool off, but he was gone within 3.
You know, the pitchers we saw there, Harnish, Portugal, and Drabek sitting in a dugout. That's not too bad of a trio to pencil in for next year.
Lemke, shot to second base. Nice turn is made by Biggio on the slow roller. Well, the Astros have their last shot coming up. They need a 3 spot. Fred McGriff up against Doug Drabek, and boom! Home run number 36 for the Crime Dog. Following him to the plate, boom! David Justice, home run number 39. Then, with 2 men stealing for the Astros in the 5th inning, bang! Terry Pendleton saves a throw by Berrio from going down the left field line, saving 2 runs from scoring, and it would have been a 6-5 game. It is not. The lights of Atlanta are lit, and in 3 more outs, the Braves will be back in first place over the Giants with 4 to go. Braves 101st win and Tommy Glavine's 21st win on tap tonight. If Greg McMichael can shut down the Stros here in the ninth. Luis Gonzalez, Ken Caminiti, Kevin Bass, 3, 4, 5 are up. Now, we also want to put our thanks into man that shows you the pictures every week. Dougie Holmes. Good job, Doug. Been fun this year, my man. Hit to left field. Gant squeezes it. There's 1 out. Baseball tonight with Gary Miller coming up next. And then the Sports Center, so Gary will get you set on everything going on and baseball and what kind of lineup the Phillies used tonight. They even scratched Tommy Green from that start. What a surprise. Think the Phillies were out last night? I do.
Celebrating a little bit? Worst to first.
This is Ken Caminiti, who has walked twice and flown out to left twice. Looks at ball 1 from McMichael. Our good buddy, our producer, Youpie himself, Jay Cutlow. From Good Hook and Horns with you again, my man, this year. Came in together on the Hotel California tour. We brought him east every now and again. Count is 1-1. Buck, we've had some fun, eh?
We've had some good games, Chris. It's been a great year. Thank you very much.
Maybe well, you won't make it Monday, will you, in case there's a ball game? Think I'll be there?
Yeah, you'll be there, I'm sure, if there's a game.
Count is 2-1. 1 out, none on. 6-3 Braves. Pop, foul ground, long run for Pendleton. Oh, kind of went back on him at the end.
Yeah, it's called no play. He had a long run. There's an awful lot of room and foul ground down the left field line, and the wind is blowing over the top of this stadium, and it pushes this ball back over Pendleton's head. Watch how it drifts on him. He's got a bead on it, and then it just drifts back over his head, and he got a piece of it, but couldn't make the play.
Oh, does that mean they're the Canadian flag up? They're expecting the Blue Jays in again for a series?
Well, they don't want to make any mistakes with the Canadian flag.
No, let's fly this thing right this time, guys. This side up, eh? Count is 2-2. What do you think Cito will do with that rotation, Buck?
Personally, I think Juan Guzman will start game 1, Dave Stewart will start game 2, and Pat Henkin will start Friday in Toronto. But then again, I have nothing to do with it.
Well, Caminiti is aboard. He's worked his 3rd walk tonight, so hold the phone. The Astros again with a base runner. They've stranded 11. They've had their whacks. Kevin Bass has driven in a run with a double back in the 3rd. Smallmouth is 2 for 4, single and a double. Smoltz against Kyle here tomorrow night. Then Avery against Harris Friday night. Maddox against Reynoso of the Rockies Saturday. Glavine needs Sunday for the Braves. If they win them all, they'll be back in the postseason for the 3rd straight year. Friday night we'll have that game for you against the Rockies in the early game. The Giants, meanwhile, Swift and Candiani tomorrow night in L.A. Burkett and Ramon Martinez Friday night. That'll be game 2 of our doubleheader. Hickerson, perhaps, unless he got and responded to getting whacked off the arm last night. Hickerson and Hershiser Saturday. Solomon Torres, Kevin Gross on Sunday. Smoltz and Swift Monday at Candlestick. JIC, just in case. Count is 1-1. McMichael working to Bass. Remembers that the Braves clinched at home here against his Stros 2 years ago. His team won game 1 last night. Still is hoping for a rally tonight. We'll get back at him tomorrow. Bobby Cox looking for win number 101. Low and in, 2-2.
Well, you know, the Braves, by most people's opinions, figure to be the best team in baseball overall when you look at their pitching and now the hitting they've put together. They've got speed and they can do a lot of things. I think everybody was surprised they got off to the slow start that they did. Change up low.
Count is full now. Remember, Andujar Cedeno was on deck. He's been the hot bat. 7-5 in this 2-game series. Ball 4, so the Astros still have their shot. Andujar Cedeno is up. Jay Howell came on to pitch against him with 2 out in the 7th, relieving Glavine. Got him on a shot to second base, grabbed by Lemke, so he hit the ball well.
I think Coxey's upset that they walked Kevin Bass on a changeup. I think it's a situation he is not pleased that he would make a pitch like that and bring Cedeno to the plate in this situation.
Well, here it is. He's homered tonight and driven in a run with a single. Off-speed pitch is strike 1. McMichael has converted his first 15 save opportunities, but has blown 2 of his last 3. Now, he has not been as sharp this last week. Cedeno 3 RBIs last night, 2 tonight. Speed pitch grounded to Pendleton. Stumbles and throws it away. Lemke makes a saving play. And all hands are safe. Well, that hit slow. It looked like then he realized he couldn't make the double play, and it seemed to freeze for a moment, Buck.
Well, it's a broken bat grounder, and it didn't get to Terry as quickly as he thought. You can see it hit funny in his glove, and then he just kind of shot-putted it into the dirt. Boy, what a play at second base to keep it on the infield. But look at the bobble there. He never really gets a grip on it, and he just kind of flings it over towards second. Lemke does a great job to glove it on one hop. But I think Pendleton got fooled by the fact that it was a broken bat grounder, and his timing was really disrupted.
So now the bases are loaded, as they were for Steve Finley, who went into double play in the 8th inning.
McMichael's got to face Donalds in this situation, and Donalds hit a deep fly ball just short of the wall and left last time up against Jay Howell.
Donalds hit his first major league home run within the last 2 weeks. Down low to Donalds. As we said last inning, when Finley came up with the bases loaded, no slams for the Stros all year. Off-speed pitch, strike, says Jerry Lane.
Because McMichael has such a good moving fastball and a breaking pitch and a changeup that are all thrown downstairs, he's only allowed 3 home runs.
On the count, bases loaded. Foul out of play. Count is 1-2. So Caminiti back to third, Bass to second, Cedeno to first.
How big is Pendleton's play on that errant throw that kept the base runners at second and third? That saved 2 runs right there. Well, we mentioned Bobby Cox was a bit hesitant to go to the pen, even though Glavine had 134 pitches. Now we're seeing why.
Off-speed pitch fouled away by Donalds. Count remains at 2-2. Eddie Taubensee on deck. Both Donalds and Taubensee came in as pinch hitters last inning. Fastball upstairs. The count is full. So give the Stros some credit. They have battled all the way.
Now you can bet that McMichaels is going to throw a fastball. Cox was very upset that he walked Kevin Bass on a changeup. And he got him with the changeup.
Wow.
What a pitch. McMichaels went to his bread and butter with the bases loaded. And he gets himself out of a sticky situation. That's a great changeup. It was a ball off the plate, but it was close enough, and Donalds was really fooled on it. Really a gutsy call and a gutsy pitch.
So Donalds will sit in Eddie Taubensee, the last Astro hope, with the bases loaded and 49,000 on their feet. Strike one. The crowd will let you know what the calls are. Braves smelling first place. The Giants caught them last night, but tonight the Braves can move back on top by 1. 1 out away. Little number. The play is made by Berryhill. Caminiti tagged out. Explode. The Braves are back in first. Had that gone just a little bit farther inside the line, might have been a tough play, Buck.
Yeah, it could have been, but Berryhill comes out of the chute. McMichael picks up his 17th save. Pendleton may have saved the game with that defensive play when he didn't cover third, but got over there to make the play. And this is the last play of the ball game. Bases loaded, 2 out. Taubensee hits a little tapper in front of home. And look at Berryhill. He's got a good shot here. He knows Caminiti's bearing down on him, and he almost didn't get the ball cleanly. Puts the tag on Caminiti, ends the ball game. A heads-up play by the catcher. The Astros stranded 14 base runners in this ball game, and the Braves now back in sole possession of first place.
Tommy Glavine wins his 21st. Doug Drabeck loses his 18th. Buck, it's been a great ride.
Chris, enjoyed it. Have a great off-season, buddy.
Well, what
you
off-season?
Never have an
I don't have one. We don't want one. Well, maybe we'll see you all Monday night from the stick. You'll have to take me off the ceiling with a blowtorch if that happens. But that does it for Wednesday Night Baseball in Atlanta. Baseball Tonight is next for Buck Martinez and all of our crew here in Atlanta. I'm Chris Berman saying so long. The Braves are back in first, beating the Stros 6-3.